I can assure you there's a lot of tension and anxiety on both sidelines, both for Tech and Georgia. A lot of pressure here.
We're going to have the tossing of the coin. Tech captains Tony Capano, Johnny Chisholm, and David Bell. Of course, Georgia has about 6 captains out there representing the Bulldogs. We'll have the tossing of the coin, but right now, you're listening to the WGST Georgia Tech Football Network.
Hawaii, lush, tropical, enchanting island paradise. Can't you just hear the pounding surf and almost see those clear turquoise waters and smell the flowers? Hawaii. No wonder everyone wants to go there. Now Delta Airlines makes it easy.
Delta really does make it easy with a daily one-stop through flight to Honolulu. Starting December 14th, you can jet away to Hawaii on Delta any day. Leave in the morning and arrive in Honolulu that afternoon. Atlanta to Hawaii with no change of planes. And Delta's distinctive service on all Hawaii flights is something very special. With all that, plus Delta's low fares, there's no reason to put off that trip to everyone's favorite islands any longer. See your travel agent or call Delta for information and reservations.
Delta and Hawaii, together at last. Won't you join us? That's the Delta spirit.
Georgia won the toss. They defer to the second half, so the Jackets will receive the football to start the ball game. And before the kickoff, let's pause. 10 seconds for station identification. This is the WGST, Georgia Tech Football Network.
This is Bill Curry. After today's game, it's the Tech Locker Room Show featuring comments from the players and myself with Al Seraldo on WGST Atlanta.
Al Seraldo, Kim King, back at Athens Sanford Stadium. Beautiful afternoon, sunshine afternoon, 62 degrees. Kim, will it take 4 touchdowns for the Jackets to win the ball game or what?
Al, I don't know what it'll take. I do think it's going to take at least better than 21 points to win this game. I personally don't see a low-scoring contest. I think Georgia's going to be able to score. I think Tech likewise will score. It'll be a scoring contest in my mind, and I think the winning team has got to score better than 21 to come out with a victory today. And if it does become a close football game and it's decided by a field goal or so, then the edge has to go to Georgia because of Kevin Butler. But again, David Bell, 13 of 15 on field goal attempts for the Jackets this year, and he's an unknown weapon, and I would not, if it got to be a close game, then I'm not sure how big of advantage Georgia would have unless they're way outside of normal field goal range. Then Butler has tremendous leg drive. He kicked the 61-yarder to defeat Clemson, and he can hit him that far.
All right, Kevin Butler set the ball up on a tee at the 40-yard line, deep for Georgia Tech. Corey Collier, who can explode on the kickoff return. To his right is Marvin Carolina, and to his left is Ricardo Ingram. The referee, Bill Goss, about set to toot the whistle, and the big one about set to get underway. Georgia Tech, Georgia. There's the toot of the whistle. Kevin Butler, slowly forward. Meets with a long, high kick that Corey Collier will take on the fly and kneel down and bring it out to the 20-yard line. So the Jackets in business, 1st and 10 at the Georgia Tech 20-yard line. Al Butler's got a great leg, everybody knows that. That's no secret. That time he kicked that ball high, and he did it with finesse. He has a leg drive to kick it up in the stands out of the end zone. That's a 30-yard put-in-play type kick, and he did it with finesse that time. He kicked it high enough, deep in the end zone. Collier just had to take the touchback. Norton split to the left. Harrington flanker right. The Jackets in an I formation. On the box, Dewberry checking off. Whizzing out in motion. Here's the handoff to Levitt off tackle. Levitt to the 20. Goes to the far side of the field at the 30. Levitt at the 35. And out of bounds on the far side of the field. First down, Georgia Tech. The official says Levitt. Let's see where he marks it around the 36-yard line. As Levitt. Now, one official wants to mark it as he went out of bounds. They say now at the 38-yard line. So give Levitt 18 yards on the first carry as he went wide of the right end. Well, that was a tailback isolation to the short side of the field. They had the split-in open side. Georgia was overshifted to the strong side. The other side of the field, Levitt faked inside, bounced outside, got good blocking, first down Tech. Tech at the Tech, 38, 1st and 10 to go. The I with Dewberry. Levitt the tail of the I. Long count by John. He's pitching off to Levitt. Levitt coming off the left side this time is tackled, and down he goes for no gain at the line of scrimmage by Andy Loy, the defensive left end. So Levitt trying to turn a corner on the left side was stopped at the line of scrimmage for no gain. 2nd and 10 to go for the Yellow Jackets at the Tech 38-yard line. Good defense by Georgia. Tech tried to go to the strong side of the field on that patented toss sweep,
but Loy refused to get blocked over there. He made penetration, knocked Levette down at the line of scrimmage.
The Jackets break the huddle. Big John Davis up over that football. The pro set with Dewberry. We have a wing back to the right this time. Checking an unbalanced line. In motion is Wisenhunt. Wisenhunt back to pass. Pressure. Going. Complete to Glenn. He's at the 40. Glenn at the 42, and down he goes. A 4-yard gain. Boy, they were blitzing John Dewberry. He picked up the blitz. A little swing pass to Glanton. And then Glanton rolled it up to about the 42-yard line of Georgia Tech. He was tripped up by Andy Loy, the fine defensive end. So the gain of 4, 3rd and 6 for the Jackets at the Tech 42.
Yeah, that was a quick screen play to Glanton. They let the pressure come on Dewberry. He dumped it out in the right flat on the swing to Glanton, but Georgia recovered very quickly.
Lee is in a tailback for Georgia Tech. Now Lee shifts as the Jackets have one lone setback behind Dewberry in a passing situation. Dewberry back to pass. Looking, throwing. It is complete to Levette, and he dropped the football. Levette had it and then dropped it. So Levette had the ball. Forcing to cough it up was Tony Flack. Levette had the football for the first down, but he was forced to give up the football, and a good tackle from Flack.
Al, Tech had Georgia in man coverage, and they had an instant matchup. They had Knox Culpepper, who was man-on coverage with Gary Lee split wide to the left, and Dewberry didn't pick it up. If they ever get that again, I'm sure the coaches up here will tell them about it. They'll try to go to Lee if they can get him on a linebacker.
Mike Snow in deep punt formation. Will kick from the Tech 30-yard line. The line of scrimmage at Tech 42. Good pass from center. Snow gets his foot in the football. And a line drive type kick that Harrell will take on the fly at the 24. He's at the 27 and is stacked up and down he goes. A punt of 34 yards by Mike Snow. The tackler on the punt team for Georgia Tech was Ralph Malone. So Georgia will put the ball in play at the Georgia, let's call it the 28-yard line of Georgia. 1st and 10 to go. Tech started their drive from the 28. Levette picked up 18 yards on a toss sweep to the right side. And now Georgia will start from their 28-yard line. 1st and 10 to go, Bulldogs. Nothing ball game. 13:24 on the clock in the first period. Georgia in a power I with 2 tight ends. Tech shows them a 5. This time, here's the pitch this time to the tailback, who is running wide and out of bounds on the far side of the field. Goes Tony Mangrum. Tony Mangrum on a pitch out, forced out of bounds by Reginald Rutland. The official says it's a 32. Let's give him 4 yards. 2nd and 6 to go. Georgia at the Georgia 32.
Well, Georgia lined up in that power I formation. They had the back end, they had the I and the right halfback. They ran the option to the left side. They got 2 tight ends. It looks like they're going to try to muscle and overpower Tech.
All right, Georgia again. 2 tight ends. Power I formation. Tech shows them a 5. Here's the handoff this time to Andre Smith, and he's tackled and sacked up by Pat Swilling. And Donnie Chisholm as they met him at the line of scrimmage. And the official marks the football, I believe, at the line of scrimmage for no gain at the 32. 3rd and 6, possession play. For the Georgia Bulldogs, Tech nothing, Georgia nothing.
Tailback isolation play. They try to go right at Tech, but that middle of Tech's defense was just too tough. Took the gaps away from Georgia. They weren't able to block them. Tech stacked him up, no gain.
Georgia breaks, they split the right end. Slot to the left, the eye with quarterback rolling right is Todd Williams looking to pass. Throwing, and it is almost intercepted by Anthony Harrison. He was the only man near the football. Incomplete forward pass. It'll be 4th down and 6 to go for Georgia from the Georgia 32-yard line.
Now that time Williams was trying to go to Ron Herman, who was doing an out pattern on the right side. He was open, but he slipped a little bit. Tech had a chance for the interception, but no, they're going to force Georgia now to punt the ball. So good defense by Tech. Georgia, of course, stopped Tech on their opening drive.
The line of scrimmage to Georgia 32. Nothing ball game. Chip Andrews in deep punt formation. Single safety for Tech is Malden. Good pass from center. Andrews gets his foot in the football. A wobbly kick that will be taken by Ricardo Ingram at the 32. He's at the 35 and out of bounds on the near sideline at the 38-yard line. So the Jackets have good field position on a short wobbly kick off the foot of Chip Andrews, give him 36 yards. Ingram caught it on the fly, rolled it back to the Georgia Tech, let's call it the Tech 39-yard line.
Well, Ricardo Ingram, the freshman, has done a good job for Tech.
Time out on the playing field. You're listening to the WGST Georgia Tech Football Network.
Bernie Merritt's Walton Jewelry Company has been an Atlanta tradition since 1931. Walton Jewelry has stayed in business that long because they offer top-quality name-brand watches, fine jewelry, diamonds, and gifts. The kind of personal service you don't find much anymore. You can buy with confidence at Bernie Merritt's Walton Jewelry Company, knowing that they've been there for over 50 years and will continue to be there for many more.
Bernie Merritt's Walton Jewelry Company, 43 Forsyth Street in the Grant Building downtown, 1 block from the 5 Points MARTA station.
A quarterback needs protection.
Okay, Hunter.
Come on, guys. Where's my protection out there? I've been down so many times it looks like up. To go the distance, your engine needs protection, too. Texaco Haviland Supreme Motor Oil is specially formulated with 9 additives to protect against wear, rust, and corrosion. And a special friction fighter helps save gasoline and improve mileage. On the field, a quarterback needs good protection. Your engine needs tough protection off the field. Protection's the name of the game with Texaco Haviland Supreme.
Georgia Tech nothing, Georgia nothing. 12:27 on the clock in the first period. When time is in, it'll be Tech's ball at the 38-yard line for the Yellow Jackets.
Now, good field position for Tech. Defensively, Tech stopped Georgia in 3 plays, forced a punt. So the Jackets here with 12:27 to go in the first quarter get their second shot at it. Dewberry and company at the Tech 39-yard line.
The Jackets break the huddle. Big John Davis up over that football. The eye. We have a wing back to the left. They split the left end and a flanker out to the right. In motion is Wilkins. Here's the handoff to Levette off tackle. Levette 40, 42, and down he goes around the 43-yard line. Hit in there by the right split guard, Kenny Sims, along with Donald Chumley. Georgia, tough defensive line to run against. So Levette off that tackle slot. The official marks the football at the 43. Give Levette 4 yards. 2nd down and 6 to go. Tech at the Tech 43. Nothing ball game. Dewberry checking off, setting his charges in the I formation. Here's Dewberry this time. Off to Levette. Levette at the 44-yard line. He's stacked up there. Give him only a yard. Hit in there by Carlisle Hewitt. The big defensive end stopping Levette. The official marks it at the 44-yard line. Make it 4th down, and here we go again. 3rd down, rather. 3rd and 5 to go. Possession play for the Yellow Jackets.
Now Tech obviously will put the ball up here. Georgia's done a good job of shutting Tech's running game down early in this football game, but I believe with Tech doing a lot of pre-shifting, they're catching Georgia in some bad defenses. Let's see if they can confuse them here.
The Jackets with 1 lone setback behind quarterback John Dewberry on the count. Lee in motion, back to pass. Dewberry rolls right to pass. Looking, still rolling, starts to run. 45, slips and falls at the 48. He's going to be shy of the 1st down. At the 48-yard line, Dewberry rolling right, looking to pass, could not find his receiver, then elected to run it upfield, and he slipped and fell at the 47-yard line at Georgia Tech, picked up 3 yards, so it's 4th down and 2 to go for Tech at the Tech 47.
Al, he had the run there. I think his feet just came out from under him. He was scrambling to the right, trying to get the ball downfield. Georgia in zone coverage had everything taken away downfield. Dewberry tried to turn it back inside. His feet went out from under him. Otherwise, he might have had the first.
All right, Tech has a T punt in. Strom and Dewberry, 2 quarterbacks in for Tech short punt formation. They call it the T punt. Good pass to Strom. Strom puts his foot in the football and gets off a high one that will hit on about the 10, rolls to the 5, and rolls dead at the 3-yard line of the 2. And now the official says, no, it's in the end zone. And the man is laying on the football at the 1. John Davis is really perturbed about the call. Tim? The ball looked like it went dead about the 1-yard line, but the official says it was in the end zone.
Al, I think what happened was the official ruled that Tech did not have possession on the down. In other words, if you touch the ball, that doesn't necessarily down it. The ball was bounding around, and as Davis fell on it, the force of his body looked like knocked the ball in the end zone, so it's a touchback. So Georgia gets a big break. Tech otherwise would have had Georgia bottled up back inside the 5-yard line. 10:29 to go in the first quarter. No score here in this one.
Rick Strom with a 53-yard kick and a beauty. That, well, with some good coverage, Tech should have down the football at the 2 or 3-yard line.
Well, they should have. They had a chance. They had 3 people back there. Wise was back there and touched it. Looked like the ball was probably going to roll dead, and then Davis, hustling down from that center position, tried to down it, and again, ball just bounced off his body into the end zone, and that's a touchback. So it was a good call by the official.
All right, the clock shows 10:29 remaining here in the first period. Nothing ball game. Kim, some scores.
Al, Auburn, Alabama tied at 7-all in the second period. Also in the second period, Boston College and Doug Flutie 10, Holy Cross 3. Of course, Boston College goes to the Cotton Bowl. Flutie tonight should be the unanimous choice for the Heisman Trophy. Army leads Navy 14-3 in the second period. Tennessee with a baseball score leads Vandy 5-0. That one too in the second quarter. Of course, Florida, FSU tee it up later on this afternoon.
All right, the Jackets defensively, Pat Swilling, Ken Parker, Ivory Lee from Statesboro in at nose guard, Mark Pike, Cleve Pound, Jim Anderson, Ted Roof, Dante Jones, your 3 deep secondary, Mike Travis, the junior out of Marietta, the safety man, Anthony Harrison out of Toccoa, Reginald Rutland out of East Point. The Tech right cornerback. So the Jackets with the regular line, and of course they missed big Glenn Spencer at that defensive tackle position. All right, the Bulldogs break the huddle. Up over that football is Peter Anderson. The Bulldogs with a wing back to the left as they split both ends. The wing back in motion to the right. Now he becomes a tight end on the right side. Long count. Here's rolling on the option is Williams. He gets to the 24-yard line. Is tripped up in there by Mark Pike as he ran the option to the right. Held the football, picked up 4 yards. Rolling to his right on the option. Option keeper, he picks up 4 yards. 2nd and 6 to go. Georgia at the Georgia 24-yard line.
Al, now Georgia's lined up with a split receiver and a flanker trying to spread Tech's defense. Ran the option to the right side. Williams almost made a big run, but Pike made a fine defensive play.
Osborne split to the right. We have a flanker, Archie, to the left. Georgia in the eye with quarterback Williams. Williams gives off to his tailback up the middle. Fights his way to about the 30-yard line for the first down. Andre Smith really plowing, keeping the feet moving, and Jim Anderson brings him down.
Now, good running that time by Smith. That was a tailback isolation play to the right side. Georgia pre-shifted Williams into a tight end on that right side. Then Smith took it on the right tackle position. He got hit about the 26, but he just churned and pulled Tech bodies up to the 30. That gave Georgia their first down of this football game.
Georgia in possession at the Georgia 30-yard line. The eye, wing back to the right. The wing back in motion to the left. Williams rolls left to pass. Looking, running. He's at the 30, 35. He's at the 40, 45, 50. Williams at the 45 of Georgia Tech and out of bounds on the near sideline in front of the Georgia bench at the 42-yard line of Georgia Tech. Brilliant run as Todd Williams rolled left to pass. Saw he had an opening, elected to just turn it upfield, and he ran 28 yards down to the Georgia Tech 42-yard line. Brilliant run by Todd Williams, the quarterback, out of Waycross, Georgia.
Al, everybody was covered. He was trying to go to the out pattern, the left side. He rolled to the left, saw the coverage, cut back against the grain, saw a wide open field, made a fine run.
Georgia with a wing back to the right as they split both ends. The wing back in motion to the left, Scott Williams. Here's the handoff this time to the tailback who is backed up there at the 41-yard line. Carrying the ball, Andre Smith. Pulpwood stopped by Jim Anderson, the interior linebacker, along with Mark Pike out of Villa Hills, Kentucky for the Jackets. So the gain of 1, make it 2nd and 9. Georgia at the Georgia Tech 41. Clock ticks 9:05 remaining here in the first period. Tech nothing, Georgia nothing. Georgia breaks the huddle. Archie, a flanker out to the right. They split Cassius Osborne to the left. They have a wing back to the left in the I formation. The wing back in motion. He'll become a tight end on the right side, Scott Williams. Tech in a 4 front. Here this time is a handoff to the big fullback, David McCluskey, who goes up the middle, past the 40 to about the 30, let's call it the 37-yard line, giving 4 yards, hit by Dante Jones and Ivory Lee, the nose guard out of Statesboro. So the gain to the Tech 37, make it 3rd and 5, possession play for Georgia at the Georgia Tech 37-yard line. Nothing ball game.
Now look for Williams now to roll out. Look for him to come around to the left side and try that rollout pass that he pulled the ball down and ran and made a big play on earlier on. Look at him going to the left side here.
The eye with Williams, McCluskey, and Smith, the tail of the eye. Slot to the left. Williams on play action, rolls left to pass. And is tackled, and down he goes by Pat Swilling at the 40-yard line. A loss that time of 3 yards. Pat Swilling, 3 pounds, really put the pressure on Todd Williams.
Now they had the blitz. Pike was in there along with Dante Jones, 3 pounds. Everybody came on the blitz. Williams faked the ball inside to try to hold the blockers, and that gave Tech an edge because they were blitzing. And as Williams tried to turn and roll to his left, Tech swarmed him. Swilling finally knocked him down back at the 41-yard line.
Jimmy Harrell will hold. Kevin Butler will try a 57-yard field goal. Both lines set. Poised. Harrell waiting. Snap. Touch. Kick by Butler. It is high enough. It is long enough. It is good. 57-yard field goal by Kevin Butler. Georgia 3, Georgia Tech nothing. You're listening to the WGSC Georgia Tech Football Network.
Atlanta, let's talk seriously a minute. When it comes to selecting and buying a used car, everybody knows you need someone you can trust. Why has Royal Olds become one of the most trusted used car dealerships in Atlanta? The answer is quality. First, they select and keep only the best of the cars they trade in. The others they wholesale. Second, it must be a car their salespeople can sell in good conscience. They actually vote on it. Third, the service department gets a crack at it, bumper to bumper. Ask your Royal Olds salesperson about their multi-check safety inspection.
Fourth, it must qualify for their 12-month, 20,000-mile service coverage. Finally, and most important of all, it must uphold their reputation. That's why I believe your very best used car buy is at Royal Olds, one of Atlanta's most trusted used car dealerships. Royal Oldsmobile, 5350 Memorial Drive, Stone Mountain. The dealership that's different.
Beautiful 57-yard field goal by Kevin Butler, who played out of Redan High School, out near the shadow of the Big Rock. Georgia's on the scoreboard 3-0. Clock shows 7:27 remaining here in the first period. Kevin Butler will kick off to Georgia Tech. Corey Collier at the goal line for the Jackets.
Well, that drive started on the Georgia 20-yard line. 6 plays that is. It stalled down at the Tech 41-yard line. Tech on third down blitzed and trapped Todd Williams, knocked him down for a 4-yard loss back to the 41. Butler kicked it through from 57 out, and boy, I'll tell you what, he is a real offensive weapon, because anytime you can get the ball down around that 40-yard line, that guy's capable of giving you 3 points, and that's got to give you a big edge, particularly in a football game like this.
Best kicker in the nation, the kid's an All-American, has had 4 great years towing the football for the Georgia Bulldogs of Vince Dooley. Butler sets the ball up on a tee at the 40-yard line. Collier deep to Collier's right, Marvin, Carolina. At the 10-yard line, Ricardo Ingram to his left. The referee, Bill Goss, watching Kevin Butler set it up on a tee at the 40-yard line. Goss set the 2-2 whistle. There's the 2 to the whistle. Kevin Butler. Forward. Comey with a high kick that Collier will take about a yard in the end zone. He's going to run it out at the 5. Collier at the 10. He's at the 15. Goes to the far side of the field. Trips up and down he goes around the 18-yard line. So the run back by Corey Collier, a yard into the end zone. He was hit by Tony Mangrum. And Will Jones on the kickoff team for the University of Georgia. The official marks the football at the Georgia Tech. Let's call it the Georgia Tech 17, first and 10 to go.
Al, that's what a guy Butler can do for you. He kicked that ball so high, his coverage team was able to get down very quickly on Collier. He didn't give him much chance to run it out.
The pro set with Collier in at tailback. Malcolm King is your fullback. Dewberry on a long count. The split 60 is there for the Georgia defense. You're rolling to the left to pass. Quarterback Dewberry throwing and almost intercepted. Intended for King. Almost intercepted that time by Georgia's roverback, John Little.
Al, had King in the flat that time. Pulling out was Thomas. Threw a block out on the left side, and Dewberry rolling to his left across his body. He's right-handed. Did not get a lot of zip on the ball. King was open for a split second, but almost threw the interception.
Second and 10 for Georgia Tech at the Tech 17. Georgia 3, Tech nothing. The post set up by John Dewberry. Collier and King in the Tech backfield. Long count by John Dewberry. Now they shift to the I formation. Collier the tail of the I. All right, here's a handoff to Collier off tackle. Collier is packed up at the 18-yard line. Give him a tough yard. Hewitt and Culpepper, the all-SEC linebacker out of Lovett High School of Atlanta on the tackle. So the game, let's give him a yard. Third down and 9 to go. Possession play for Georgia Tech at the Tech 18. Clock 6:55 remaining here in the first period. Georgia 3, Kevin Butler's 57-yard field goal. Tech nothing. The Jackets break the huddle on the 3rd and 9 from the Tech 18. Here's the Jackets now with one lone setback behind Dewberry. Flanker out to the left is Harrington. They split the end. Harrington in motion to the right. Dewberry back to pass. Rolling to the left to throw. He's at the 10. He's going to run at the 15. Dewberry at the 20. He's at the 25 and out of bounds. About a yard shy of the first down at the 26-yard line as John Little belted him out of bounds. Dewberry, I guess, Kim, that time, it's going to be close. Let's see where the official will mark it. He had to go to about the 17 for the first down, and they're going to mark it at the 17, rather the 27, and then, but it's going to be about a half yard shy of the first down.
Well, it looked like Dewberry had it a little quicker than he wanted to take it. He rolled to his left, had a lot of open field there, was trying to get somebody open downfield, and I think that little bit of hesitation was enough for Georgia to be able to come up and knock him down before he could convert and pick up the first.
In deep punt formation, Mike Snow, the line of scrimmage at the 27-yard line of Georgia Tech. Deep for Georgia at the 36-yard line is Harold. Good pass from center. Snow gets in front of the football and gets off a good kick. It'll be taken on the 5 to 35 by Harold. He's at the 40, 45. Harold at the 50. Fumbles the football. Georgia Tech recovers Big Jerry Wilkins recovers a fumble by Jimmy Harrell. So the Jackets get a break on the fumble of the punt off the foot of Mike Snow. The recovery by Wilkins at the Georgia Tech 40-yard line.
Well, that was a big break for Tech there because Georgia looked like they were going to be in excellent position. Harrell actually caught the ball about the 35, came right up the middle, found a big hole, and was about to go on for a big run, but he got tripped up, and as he did, he fumbled the ball. Wilkins recovered at the Tech 45.
All right, the Jackets take over 1st and 10 at the Tech 40-yard line. Whizzing on a tight end on the left side. Tech has a slot to the right. The slot back in motion, Harrington to the left. Here's the handoff to Levette, off tackle. Levette 45, and down he goes around the 47-yard line. Rather, the 47. Let's see, he was tripped up in there by Knox Culpepper, the fine interior linebacker. The line of scrimmage was a 45-yard line. Give him, let's see what the official marks the football. Give him a yard to the 46. 2nd and 9 to go. The Jackets at the Tech 46. The Jackets huddle, the ball on the hash mark on the near sideline. The Jackets break the huddle. Big John Davis up over that football. Dewberry, King, and Levette in the eye with Gary Lee a flanker. Whizzing on a tight end on the right side. Georgia shows Tech a 4 front. In motion is Norton to the right. Dewberry, play action, back to pass. Looking, trap, fumbles the football. Georgia Tech recovers. Big Peter Blazak recovering Dewberry's fumble. Dewberry was in trouble as Georgia got to Dewberry, 2 tacklers. He fumbled the football, and finally Andy Loy was trying to put the pressure on. The fumble recovery by Peter Blazak at the Georgia Tech 41-yard line, a loss of 5 yards. So make a 3rd down and 14 to go. And so far, the heat has been on Dewberry, Kim.
Well, that time Georgia had the blitz, and Tech did not pick it up, and that forced a turnover, or almost turnover there, as Dewberry fumbled, Blazak recovered.
All right, the Jackets at the Tech 41, 3rd and 14. One lone setback behind John Dewberry. Georgia in a 4 front. Dewberry back to pass. Looking, throwing, and it's batted down at the line of scrimmage by the big Georgia guard, Kenny Simmons. So the Jackets again will be forced to kick the football. They've been unable to move. The first play, Levette went 18 yards, but since that first play of Levette going 18, the Jackets' offense has been shut down.
Al, on 1st down, Tech's been trying to run the ball. They're going to have to change that strategy. They're going to have to try to put the ball up because Georgia stopped them on the running play on 1st down, and has put Tech in 2nd and 3rd down long situations.
Georgia 3, Tech nothing. Mike Snow in deep punt formation. Harrell, single safety. Sutherland snapping the football. Good pass from center. Snow gets his foot in the football. A long one chasing Harrell all the way back to the 13-yard line. He's at the 15. Harrell slips and falls at the 20-yard line of Georgia. So the punt of 46 yards by Mike Snow. The run back from about the 13 to the 20 by Harrell. So it'll be Georgia 1st and 10 at the Georgia 20-yard line with a score. Georgia 3, Tech nothing. First period, 4:41 on the clock. And we have a timeout on the playing field. You're listening to the WGST, Georgia Tech Football Network.
You know, these days, everything is getting faster. Fast cars, fast business, fast food. I'm Pongo Poole from Aunt Fanny's Cabin with a reminder that some of the best things in life aren't rushed, like a good home-cooked meal at Aunt Fanny's Cabin. For years, our customers have known they can come in for good old-fashioned cooking, for lunch or dinner. And they know what they'll get, our specialty, fresh and juicy fried chicken. You won't find any better. We've got country fried steak that'll make your mouth water, and fresh fish served up hot and flaky. Aunt Fanny's is an Atlanta tradition, and if you haven't stopped by for a while, why not come home? We'd like to see you.
Aunt Fanny's Cabin is open 7 days a week. Join them for lunch Monday through Friday, 11:30 to 2:30, dinner Monday through Friday, 6 to 10. They're open Saturday nights for fine dining from 6 to 10:30, and join them Sunday after church anytime from 1 to 10.
Aunt Fanny's Cabin, still as good as you remember us.
Georgia 3, Kevin Butler's 57-yard field goal. Tech nothing, 4:41 on the clock. Still timeout on the playing field, Jim.
Al, we were talking moments ago before we broke that Tech on 1st down has not been very effective with the exception of the game's first play when Levette went 18 yards. Georgia has been able to shut Tech's running game down pretty effectively, and that's forced Dewberry into 2nd and 3rd and long situations. And when Georgia gets him in those situations, they're able to pin their ears back and really come after him. And the blitz and the pressure has been a little too much for John. He's had a couple of passes knocked down, and he's also almost got sacked back there.
Ricardo Ingram, the freshman from Douglas, Georgia, Coffee County, is in at free safety for the Jackets. The eye set up by Todd Williams. Here's Williams rolling right to pass. Looking, throwing. It is complete. to Fred Lane at around the 24-yard line for 4-yard gain. Mike Travis is there to cover for the Yellow Jackets. The official marks the football. Let's call it the Georgia 24. 2nd and 6 to go. Williams to Lane. Fred Lane out of Columbia High School out in Decatur. So Williams throwing 1 out of 2. Dewberry throwing the football, having his troubles, 1 out of 4. All right, Georgia at the Georgia 24. The ball on the hash mark on the near sideline. The eye set up by Todd Williams. We have a swap to the left. Tech shows him a 4 front. Here's the pitch this time to Andre Smith. Tackle for a loss at the 23. Diagnosing the play was Donnie Chisholm along with Dante Jones. And Chisholm, Kim, has been elected the defensive captain for the Jackets. This kid has had himself a season.
He's played great this year, Al. He's had a lot of injuries previously and a lot of question about Donnie's intensity. But this year he's proved that he's a key part of that defense. Dante Jones from Valdosta made a blitz from the weak side, got in the backfield, and that was really what gave Chisholm a chance to make the hit.
3rd and 7, loss of a yard for Pulpwood Smith. In motion this time to the left goes Scott Williams. Here's the handoff this time to the tailback, Andre Smith, and he's tackled at the 24-yard line. For a yard gain at the most, Jim Anderson was there. So Georgia now at the Georgia 24, 4th down and 6 will be forced to kick the football at Georgia Tech. Georgia 3, Georgia Tech nothing. Rock kicked here in the first period, 3:15.
Al, good defense. Tech had the blitz, and they were looking for Williams to throw the ball. They brought the blitz right up the middle. They tried the draw play with Smith, and Tech's blitz picked him up after he gained a yard or so. So Tech's defense playing extremely well here early in the game. 3:03 to go. 3-0 Georgia leads.
Chip Andrews deep punt formation. Good pass from center. Andrews gets his foot in the football and hangs one up there that Baldwin will take on a fly, but he lets it hit. And it rolls down to the 13-yard line. It rolls dead at the 13-yard line. So a brilliant kick. No return by Chip Baldwin. 62 yards by Chip Andrews. A good roll.
Now they're going to rule that the ball was touched by Georgia back up at the 26. So Tech got a break. Malden let the ball hit, and that's a cardinal rule of a punt returner. Even if you have to fair catch it, don't ever let that ball hit unless there's some extenuating circumstance. That time, Andrews did kick a high kick. Malden just simply elected to let it hit, and turned out to be a roll in favor of Georgia.
All right, the Tech takes over 1st and 10 at the Georgia Tech 26. The ball midway between the sidelines. Dewberry back to pass. Looking, throwing. It is complete to Levette, and down he goes around. Let's see, the official says it's the 32-yard line. Give him 6 yards on the pass reception. 2nd down and 4 to go. The tackler, a fine Robert, back for the Georgia Bulldogs, and that's John Little.
Now they put Dewberry on 1st down. They changed their strategy. They threw the ball. They had Levette, in the flat in the right side. Dewberry hit him quickly for a pickup of 6.
All right, the Jackets at the Tech 32, 2nd and 4. The eye set up. Wilkins the tight end on the left side. Levette the tail of the eye. In motion is Gary Lee to the left. Here's the handoff to the fullback, Glanton. Glanton is stacked up there at the line of scrimmage. Give him a yard or so around the 33-yard line. Hit in there by Henry Harris, the sophomore left guard for Georgia out of Columbia High School out in Decatur. Big 6'3", 262-pound sophomore. The gain to the 33, make a 3rd down, and the Jackets have about 2.5, 3 yards to go for the 1st down.
Now that time they tried the fullback cut play up the middle. Georgia's guards pinched down, took everything away, and Glanton was lucky to get a yard.
The Jackets break the huddle. The eye set up by quarterback John Dewberry. In motion is Wilkins. Here's Wilkins, and option keeper play and to the 37-yard line. I think he got his 1st down, and the option keeper to the left goes John Dewberry. Let's see where his knee touched around the 37, and he got the 1st down.
Well, he got it by inches. That was the option play. They fake inside to the fullback to hold the linebackers. Then Dewberry comes out to the outside. That time he had an option of pitching the ball back to Levette, his trailing back, but he saw daylight inside, and he very quickly dove in there and just picked up a 1st down by a few inches. Georgia wants to be sure they're going to bring the chain gang in, but from where the ball was spotted and where the chains are across the way, looks like he got it maybe by a half length of the ball. Let's see. Well, it's more than that. It's more like he got it about 2 feet, maybe even a yard.
2nd 1st down for the Yellow Jackets. Dewberry and the option keeper picks up 4 yards for the 1st down at the Tech 37. Georgia 3, Tech nothing. 1:20 on the clock here in the 1st period. Sunshine afternoon in Athens Sanford Stadium. 62 degrees at kickoff time. Big John Davis up over that football. Georgia shows Tech, well, that 4 front, and it ends up with a 5 front now. In motion, Wisenhunt to the right. Here's a handoff to the tailback, Levette. Levette off tackle, fights his way to about the 39-yard line for a pickup of about 2 yards. Jeff Sanchez, the safety man, was there along with Jake Richardson. They unstack around the 39-yard line. Give him 2 yards. So it's 2nd and 8 to go for the Jackets at the Georgia Tech 39-yard line.
There again on first down, Tech tries to run inside. Georgia shuts him down for a very short gain. Dewberry faced with 2nd and long.
2nd and 8, Tech at the Tech 39. The eye set up by John Dewberry. Flanker to the left as they split the right end. Georgia in the 6 front. Long count by John Dewberry, checking off on the play. Here's Dewberry this time to the fullback. King, he's at the 50. King at the 45. He's at the 35. King at the 20. King at the 15. He's at the 10. He's at the 3-yard line. Brilliant run as he broke loose was Malcolm King, the freshman out of Americus, Georgia.
Al, they had the blitz on. Georgia brought everybody that time. They brought Culpepper, their inside backer. They brought everyone, and King simply ran right by him. That's a danger you run. When you blitz, you gamble. Georgia had that blitz on. They gave the ball to the quick hitter, to King up the middle. He just simply ran right between the linebackers. Once he broke that line of scrimmage, it was a foot race. They finally dragged him down at the 3.
All right, the Jackets at the Georgia 3-yard line. A 58-yard run for Malcolm King. The Jackets in the eye. Grant in at fullback. Levette the tail of the eye. 2 tight ends. Long count by John Dewberry. Tech 1st and goal at the Georgia 3. And there, let's see, it's the end of the first period. Scoreboard clock shows the end of the first period with a score. Georgia 3, Tech nothing. You're listening to the WGST Georgia Tech Football Network.
One day, Dwayne Beamer went to a dude ranch to improve his health. That night, something spooked the cattle. The next day, Dwayne Beamer woke up with a severe case of hoof and mouth. Fortunately, he didn't need his Century life insurance policy, which would have provided funds for his family's future had he bought the ranch. To make sure you're covered, call Century, where all's well, even when all isn't.
There's thoughts for you. There is no one else who does it quite the way you do. So here's to you.
We're set to start the second period. 10 seconds for station identification. This is the WGST Georgia Tech Football Network.
I'm Tom Hughes. Stay up to the minute on Atlanta and the world each weekday morning, 5:30 to 10, with Wade Medlock and me on WGST Atlanta.
Al Seraldo, Kim King, back at Athens Sanford Stadium. We're set to start the second period. Georgia 3, Georgia Tech nothing. Kim, the Jackets knocking at the door at the 3-yard line. 1st and goal to go.
Al, they started the drive on the Tech 26-yard line. Levette took a pass on first down, and then Tech on Dewberry and Glanton's running got Tech's second first down at the 37. Levette tried it inside for 2 yards. Tech had 2nd and 8. Georgia was in a blitz. Tech caught him with a quick hitter to King, the fullback, in the I-back formation. Just popped it real quick. I'm not sure Tech blocked it that well, but I think what happened, more importantly, King just simply slid by the linebackers, and it was a foot race.
The kid is explosive. Malcolm King, the freshman, 5'9", a 205-pounder out of Americus, Georgia.
Now, Tech has had their troubles in short yardage down on the goal line. We saw the North Carolina game. They had great deal of difficulty getting the ball in the end zone, and up until Dewberry's touchdown in that second quarter against Wake Forest, they had their troubles. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not they can get a touchdown here.
All right, Tech at the Georgia 3. 1st and goal, 4 down, so ram it in there. Georgia 3, Tech nothing. Second period, about set to start. John Davis up over the football. Harrington, flanker left. The Jackets in the eye with 2 tight ends. Dewberry checking off at the line of scrimmage. Georgia shows them the goal line defense. Dewberry this time pitching out to Levette. Levette at the 5. Levette scores for Georgia Tech as they went to the left side that time on a pitch to Levette, the toss sweep, and Levette scores for Georgia Tech for rambling Robert Levette. His 46th touchdown in his career, his 14th this season. Tech 6, Georgia 3.
Well, that was a 74-yard drive in 7 plays. The pay dirt, Robert Levette on the toss sweep. Dewberry checked off at the line. They had the double flanker out there. He saw something in Georgia's defensive alignment that gave him a chance to get Levette on the toss sweep. He took advantage of it. Levette scored.
David Bell will try to make it 7-3. The kid hasn't missed this year. 28 out of 28. Snap, touch, kick by David Bell. It's high enough. It is good. Tech 7, Georgia 3. You're listening to the WGST Georgia Tech Football Network.
If you're looking for the best value in checking today, look no further than C&S. Because a C&S Money Saver checking account may fit your budget just right. For only $3.75 a month, you get up to 15 checks or instant banking withdrawals, and there's no minimum balance required. Money Saver checking at C&S. 15 checks, only $3.75 a month. It's the best value in checking at the best place to bank. Think of your future with C&S. Member FDIC. Do you know where the money goes that Texaco spends for sponsorship of Georgia Tech football games here in the Atlanta area? It stays right here in this area. That's right. It's used for education programs, athletic events, and scholarships. Texaco and your local Texaco retailer are proud that during the years they've been sponsoring Georgia Tech football games, so many worthwhile education projects have been carried out. And why do Texaco and the independent businessmen who wear the Texaco star continually support local programs? They're just being neighborly.
Georgia Tech 7, Georgia 3. Tech will kick off to the Georgia Bulldogs.
Hell, that drive was a big one for Tech because now I think they've got a little bit of the, well, they got a lot of the momentum back in this game. Georgia seemed to have it until Tech's last defensive series when they punted back to Georgia at their 20-yard line in 3 plays, held Georgia to less than 5 yards and forced them in punt formation. And then after Dewberry picked up a first down for Tech, Levette maybe picked up a couple. Dewberry checked off at the line, read the Georgia blitz, did the quick hitter with a fullback, Malcolm King, who ran 58 yards down to Georgia 3, and then Levette on the first play of the second quarter took the tall sweep on the left side, got some good blocking as he just dove inches into the end zone to give Tech their first score. So good football game, pretty much what everyone expected here. A very close game, tough defensive game, and Dewberry has yet to get on track. So I look for him out as the game goes, if Tech can pick up the pressure for Dewberry to get on track. That'll be key for Tech. They can score a lot of points, and I'm sure that with a lead now and a little bit of momentum, if they can hold Georgia and get the ball back, you'll see Dewberry put the ball up.
David Bell, who's from Masson, Georgia, will kick off. There's a two to the whistle. David Bell forward. Home meets leather. And a high short kick. They'll be taken by Fred Lane. He's at the 10, 15. Lane at the 20. And down he goes around the, let's call it close to, he didn't get to the 20-yard line, by Robert Massey from Tipton, Georgia, the freshman on the kickoff team for Georgia Tech. The officials will mark the football at the Georgia, let's call it the Georgia 18-yard line, first and 10 to go. So the kick was a high short kick taken by Fred Lane around the 5-yard line, run back to the Georgia 18. Good coverage by the Jackets as Massey knocked him down at the 18-yard line of Georgia. So the Bulldogs first and 10 at the 18-yard line. Tech has Swilling, Parker, Ivory Lee, Ralph Malone, Pounds, Anderson, Root, Jones, Travis, Ingram, and Rutland in that backfield. One lone setback. Here's the handoff this time to Andre Smith, and Smith is backed up for about a yard loss that time by Ivory Lee, who came through that time. Let's give him, well, he got a yard or so to about the 20-yard line. Second down and 8 to go. Georgia with the ball at the Georgia 20-yard line on a hash mark on the far side of the field. That shows Georgia that 4-foot. Up over that football is Peter Anderson, Georgia center, out of New Jersey. One lone setback behind quarterback Todd Williams. Flanker left, in motion. Rolling left to pass, Todd Williams looking, throwing. It is incomplete, too long for the intended receiver, Jimmy Hockaday. Good pressure that time by Pat Swilling as he put pressure on Todd Williams.
And now Tech had a busted defensive alignment that time. They had 2 receivers over on that left side, and they only had 1 man in coverage. Tech put a man in motion to the left, and Tech didn't rotate over, and that left Tech shorthanded. Williams rolled to his left, did a little in and out pattern to Hockaday. Hockaday went inside, then spun outside, but he overthrew him. So Tech lucky that time. They weren't lined up properly to pick up those receivers.
Possession play for Georgia, 3rd and 8 at the Georgia 20. The eye with Todd Williams, second up 5 front. Williams this time on play action, back to pass, pressured, throwing one, a long one, and it is incomplete, too long for the intended receiver. The intended receiver was Herman Archie. He overshot Archie by 10 yards that time, Tim.
Al Dante Jones put the blitz on Williams. He forced him to throw the ball long. Now, they were trying to hit the home run. They had Ingram back there in coverage, or was it Wilson? Wilson back in coverage, or and they had collision. The fans wanted the pass interference, but the rule is if it's a catchable ball, it's interference. That time, I guess the official ruled that he just didn't have a chance because the ball was way overthrown.
Chip Andrews in deep punt formation. Tech with a single safety. Baldwin at the Tech 35-yard line. The line of scrimmage at Georgia 20. Tech will have an 8-man rush on. Good pass from center. Andrews gets his foot in the football. A hang one. He hangs one up. Baldwin will take it on a fly at the 28. Baldwin back at the 30. Baldwin at the 34. Tripped up in there by Tony Mangrum on the punt team around the official says the 35-yard line. Now they move it back to the 34. So the Jackets take over. Good field position at the Tech 34-yard line. First and 10 to go. Tech 7, Georgia 3. Second period, 13:59 on the clock.
Good defense by Tech that time. They've held Georgia on the last 2 offensive series for Georgia to 4 plays and forced the conversion over to Tech. So Dewberry has excellent field position here.
Andy Hearn in at center for Georgia Tech. Tech splits the left end. Flanker goes right. Wilkins in motion. Back, rolling right to pass. Dewberry looking, throwing, complete to Glanton. He's at the 35-40, Glanton 45. He's at the midfield stripe and out of bounds on the near sideline at the 47-yard line of the Georgia Bulldogs. A little pass out into the right flat that time from Dewberry to Glanton, and Glanton was off to the races, a little youngster from Villa Rica. Picked up a first down at the Georgia 47-yard line. The gain was 19 yards for Georgia Tech.
Hell, that play was a dump off that time. Dewberry was looking to go downfield. Glanton was his safety valve on the right side. Harrington threw a key block for Glanton after he caught it.
In motion, Wilkins to the left. The eye with Dewberry. Here's Dewberry this time, giving off to Levette. Levette is the 45. Levette inside the 45 to about the 41-yard line. As they pile up at the 41, the tackler was Bill Mitchell, the linebacker, along with Calvin Rupp, the defensive left end. The official marks the football well closer to the 42-yard line, giving 5 yards. 2nd and 5 to go for Georgia Tech at the Georgia 42-yard line. Tech 7, Georgia 3, second period. The Jackets break the huddle with Harrington a slot back to the right as they split Norton to the right. The eye with quarterback John Dewberry. Georgia in a 5 front. In motion, Harrington to the left. Dewberry pitching out to Levette at the 45. Levette at the 40. Cuts back to the 35. Levette is knocked out of bounds on the far side of the field. First down, Georgia Tech by Jeff Sanchez. Let's see where he went out of bounds. He was bounced out of bounds, the official says, at the Georgia 30, lining it up at the 31-yard line. 11-yard toss sweep to the left, Kim.
Al, great blocking by Gary Wilkins, Tech's left tight end. They pre-shifted him from the right side back to the left. They ran the sweep to the left side. He had to hook the outside backer for Georgia that time to get Levette outside. He did that. A great block by Wilkins.
The Jackets on the drive. Malcolm King checks in at fullback. The eye with Dewberry. King, Levette the tail of the eye, stacked up in that eye formation. In motion, lead to the right. Hand off this time to Malcolm Kim. He's stacked up at the 30-yard line. Give him a tough yard. Right up the middle, Jim Auer, the left guard, was there to stop Malcolm at the 30-yard line of Georgia. So the Jackets at the Georgia 30. 2nd and 9 to go. Clock ticks 12:35 here in the second period. Tech 7, Georgia 3. Harrington checks in with a play from Coach Bill Curry from across the way. Gary Lee checks out. The Jackets calling their plays with their flanker back position. The Jackets break the huddle. Up over that football is Andy Hearn. Slot to the right, Harrington. Second up close set. Long count by John Dewberry. Georgia to 4 front. Here's Dewberry back to pass. Quarterback draw. Dewberry, 30, 25. He's at the 15. Dewberry at the 10. Dewberry at the 5. Touchdown, Georgia Tech. Kim, he ran that last year, and again this year, as Dewberry goes 30 yards on a quarterback draw.
Al, great call. He checked off that time. He saw Georgia was going to come with a blitz, and Dewberry simply checked off. He almost got caught by the time clock. He ran it down to about 2 seconds before he snapped the ball. Georgia got picked up on the blitz. Dewberry got excellent blocking up there, led by Andy Hearn, Thomas, and Capano. And then it was just off to the foot races. Dewberry's got too much quickness for Georgia. He outran their secondary. Touchdown for Tech.
The Jackets 13, Georgia 3. Let's see what David Bell can make it 14-3. Wisenhunt will hold. Sutherland will snap. Both lines set. Boy, snap, touch, kick by David Bell. It's high enough. It is good. Tech 14, Georgia 3. You're listening to the WGSC Georgia Tech Football Network.
It's the home of the world's greatest hamburger. It's Fuddruckers, and it's open now at Perimeter Center right in front of the Marriott. The burgers aren't just big. They're ground right before your eyes and cooked to order. You dress it yourself, too, from a fresh produce case that'll make your mouth water. And don't stop there. At Fuddruckers, you also get fresh ribeye steak sandwiches, spicy knockwurst, and tasty bratwurst from Texas. Plus, some of the best hot dogs you'll find anywhere. Fuddruckers also has a full-service bar with premium brands, wine, and long neck beer, and a fresh bakery with cookies and brownies so good, you'll know they were made today.
Fresh at Fuddruckers. Get fresh at Fuddruckers. Cooked beef, fried potatoes, come and see our tomatoes. Get fresh. Get fresh at Fuddruckers.
Open 6 days a week till 11, Sundays till 10. You'll remember the world's best hamburger as long as you remember the name. Fuddruckers, next to the Marriott at Perimeter Center.
All right, the Jackets, David Bell setting the ball up on a tee at the 40-yard line. Check off to a good start. They lead 14-3, Kim King.
Al, that was a tremendous drive. It was a very quick drive. Tech went 66 yards, and they did it in only 5 plays. The key play was Glanton's 19-yard swing pass from Dewberry. Then after Levette picked up 5 and 11 yards, King was stopped for only a yard gain up the middle. Dewberry on a quarterback draw, he checked off, went 30 yards straight up the gut. He scored last year on the same play against Georgia.
David Bell from Clark Central High School of Athens for Georgia Tech will kick off. Billy Goss, the referee, still waiting deep for Georgia at the goal line is Fred Lane and Stanley Blaylock, the speedster. Tech 14, Georgia 3. In Athens on a sunshine afternoon. Bill Goss, the referee, toots the whistle. David Bell forward. Cole meets Levin, a long line drive type kick that goes into the end zone, and running it out is Freddie Lane. He's at the 10, Lane at the 15, he's at the 20, and down he goes at the 22-yard line, tripped up by Ricardo Ingram, the freshman from Coffee County High School down in Douglas, Georgia. So Georgia takes over at the Georgia 22-yard line. First and 10 to go. Tech 14, Georgia 3. So the Bulldogs have Todd Williams, David McCluskey, and Andre Smith in their I backfield. Cassius Osborne, your split end, and Scott Williams, the tight end, and Hockaday, your flanker back. The I set up by Todd Williams. Williams checks Tech's defense of a 4 front. Scott Williams, the tight end, in motion, sets up on the tight end on the left side. Here's on an option keeper, Todd Williams at the 25. He's at the 30, and down he goes. Tripped up around the 29. They may give him that extra yard or not. Hit up by Pat Swilling, the defensive end from Toccoa, Georgia. So the option to the left by Todd Williams on a waycross. Official marks the football. Well, let's give him to the 30-yard line. Second and 2 to go. A pickup of 8 yards by Todd Williams on the option keeper to the left. The ball midway between the sidelines. Tech 14, Georgia 3. Todd Williams touches charges in the I formation. He splits the left end. The flanker goes right. He has a wing back to the right. The wing back in motion, Scott Williams. Here's the handoff to the tailback, Smith, and he is tackled by Donnie Chisholm again in that backfield. A loss as the official marks the football at the 29-yard line. A loss for Pulpwood Smith at 1 yard. Again, Donnie Chisholm. Another tackle loss for him.
Al, he just shot the gap that time. He had a little stun on up the middle. Nobody picked him up. He came roaring in the backfield, hit Smith back for a 1 yard loss. So Tech now has got Georgia in a third and, let's say, a long 2, maybe 3 yards to go. Big defensive play for Tech.
All right, there's a timeout on the playing field. Georgia 3rd and 3 at the 29. You're listening to the WGST Georgia Tech Football Network.
One reason Rude's so proud to introduce the new Rude heat pump concerns something called SEER, Seasonal Energy Efficiency Rating. The higher the unit's SEER, the more efficiently it cools. So when they tell you the Rude Deluxe High Efficiency heat pump line has SEERs of up to 11.2, when 9 is called high efficiency, and then tell you that no heat pump they've ever built heats as efficiently, you'll know why Rude means energy savings for you. For more about the new Rude heat pump, call your Rude air conditioning dealer, distributed in Georgia by Dealer Supply Company. GMC's surprisingly affordable new tilt cab turbocharged medium-duty diesel offers excellent fuel cost savings, air-assisted hydraulic clutch, a short turning radius, along with a cab that tilts for time savings in routine maintenance. General GMC has them in inventory right now. Drive the demo and see for yourself why the new GMC tilt cab has everybody talking.
The name you can depend on, General GMC.
General GMC, 745 Memorial Drive, exit I-20 at Boulevard.
All right, the Jackets defensively, Swilling, Kyle Ambrose, Donnie Chisholm, Mark Pike, Mark Hogan, Ralph Malone, and Ted Roof, interior linebackers, Dante Jones, the outside linebacker, the three deep secondary, Mike Travis, Anthony Harrison, and Reginald Rutland.
Well, defensively, Tex played well in this first half. They forced Georgia's 3 points, was on a 57-yard field goal by Kevin Butler. And on the last 2 possessions, Tech has just shut Georgia down cold. Georgia's run 3 plays on both the last 2 possessions, and Chip Andrews has been forced to punt here. They have third down and, say, 3 yards or so to go to convert for the first down. Some updated scores. Alabama leads Auburn 14-7 in the third quarter. BC leads Holy Cross 17-10. That one in the third quarter. Army 21, Navy 3, also third quarter.
Ken Parker replaces Kyle Ambrose for the Jackets. Georgia at the Georgia 29, 3rd and 3. The eye with Todd Williams. Williams rolling on the option keeper. Has the first down at the 35, and down he goes. The option keeper goes Williams for the first down, hit by Mike Travis, the cornerback. Georgia gets a big first down to keep their offense on that football field. So it's Georgia at the Georgia 35, 1st and 10 to go.
Now that's the third first down for Georgia in this football game that time. Williams on the keeper to the left side, turned it back inside, picked up the first.
All right, Cassius Osborne, a split right end. They have a slot to the right. The eye with Williams. In motion goes McCluskey. Here's a pass this time to Lane, and Lane is trapped way backfield. He's going to try to throw, and then he decides to run him down. He goes for a tremendous loss. Although he was going to throw the football on the pitch to Fred Lane, and then Lane couldn't find anybody. Then elected to run it upfield. But he was trapped back there at the 25. He got away and went back to the 34 of Georgia, so it's a loss of about a yard. So make it 2nd down and 11 to go.
Well, they were trying to sucker Tech that time, but Harrison and Rutland back in that secondary took away the long bomb, and Lane had to scramble for his life.
Georgia to Georgia 34, 2nd and 11. The eye with Todd Williams, 2nd and 4 front. Here's Williams this on a play action, back to pass throwing. It is complete to the 36, and down a man goes. Ted Roof that time hit Andre Smith running out of the backfield, give him about a couple of yards, along with the interior linebacker, Jim Anderson. So Roof and Anderson combining on the tackle after the pass reception of Andre Smith at the 36-yard line. So he gets 2 yards on the pass completion, 3rd down, and make it 9 to go. And again, Georgia on a possession play, 3rd and 9 at the Georgia 36.
Tech checks in that nickel backfield, Al. Actually, they've got 6 defensive backs in the ball game.
Rutland, Lilly, Harrison, Ingram, and Travis. Georgia with one lone setback on a passing situation. Back to pass, Todd Williams has protection. Throwing long, and it is complete at the 45-yard line of Georgia. Very close to the first down. At that time, Osborne wrestled the ball away from Rutland.
Al, Rutland had great coverage that time. Osborne ran an out pattern. Williams threw the ball on a string. Rutland broke on it, and they went to fighting for the ball. Osborne came down with possession, just the nose of the football, picked up the first down for him. So great individual effort by Osborne got Georgia their first down.
Fine play. Williams to Osborne gets Georgia first down at the Georgia 45. Tech 14, Georgia 3. Second period, clock kicked. 8:53 remaining here in the first half. The eye with Todd Williams, 2nd and 4 front. Here's the pitch this time to Andre Smith. Smith at the 50. Smith at the Georgia Tech 45-yard line. Very close to another first down. Andre Smith on the pitch and then going off the tackle guard slot. Jim Anderson and Cleve Pounds brings him down at the Georgia Tech 45-yard line. So make it 2nd down and a short yard to go. They move it back closer to the 46 of Georgia Tech. 2nd and a yard to go.
Toss sweep power play inside. That one designed to go inside the tackle. The hole was there. Smith with great acceleration picked up 9.
Archie split to the right. We have a slot to the right. Tech goes into the 5 front. In motion, Fred Lane to the left. Here's Williams this time giving off to fullback who stacked up at the 44-yard line of Georgia Tech. Ted Roof hit him, and I think he got his first down. They moved the chain. First down, Georgia at the Georgia Tech 44-yard line.
Al, Tech dropped their linebacker in the line of scrimmage. Ball was snapped. Roof checks out of the ball game. He's been bothered with that shoulder injury. So that's a big blow if he's not able to go anymore.
Kevin Henderson replaces interior linebacker Ted Roof. So Georgia on the move. They're at the Tech 44. They trail 14-3. Georgia in the eye with the ball at the Georgia Tech 44, 1st and 10. In motion goes Hockaday to the right. Long count. Here's Williams rolling right in the option. Elects to turn it upfield, and is tackling down. He goes to the 42, giving him 2 tough yards. On the option keeper to the right, Ken Parker was there to really knock him down along with Pat Swilling. So the gain of 2 to the Tech 42. Second down and about 8 to go at the Georgia Tech 42.
Good play by Ken Parker that time, Al. They faked, Williams faked off the right side to McCluskey, tried to run the option to the wide side. Parker, that defensive end, not only turned him back inside, but he also made the tackle.
All right, the Bulldogs at the Georgia Tech, make it the 41 and a half, whatever you want to call it. The I. Here's the handoff this time to the tailback Smith, and Smith goes past the 40 to the 38-yard line, giving 4 tough yards. Jim Anderson brings him down, the interior linebacker for Georgia Tech at the Georgia Tech 38. So the gain of about 4 yards make it third down and 4 to go at the Georgia Tech 38. And, of course, Butler waiting in the wings if Georgia fails on the first down. Third and 4 for Georgia at the Tech 38. The ball on the hash mark on the near sideline. Second and 5 front. The I. Williams back to pass. Starts to run. He's at the 40, 35. He's at the Tech 30. Has the first down. He's at the 26 and out of bounds. Out of bounds at the 26-yard line as Rutland ran him out of bounds. Todd Williams at the Georgia Tech 26. First down for Georgia at the 26-yard line of Georgia Tech.
Well, that was a blitz by Tech that time, and Williams again made a great run. He saw that Tech had the blitz. He turned it back up inside, trying to roll to his right. Saw a big hole back to his left. Rutland finally ran him out of bounds. The fans wanted a late hit on Rutland, but no flag.
The I is Tron Jackson's, the tail of the I, the junior out of Liberty, South Carolina, replacing Andre Smith. The I set up. Georgia at the Georgia Tech 26. First and 10 to go. Here, giving out to Tron Jackson. Jackson off tackle, goes to the 22-yard line. Tripped up in there by Ken Parker and Mark Pike, the defensive ends, converging for Georgia Tech. The official marks the football at the Georgia Tech 22. Second and 6 to go. Clock ticks, 6:10 remaining here in the first half. Tech 14, Georgia 3, as Georgia has been on a sustained drive. The Bulldogs break the huddle. Up to the line of scrimmage. In the I formation with a slot to the left. Andre Smith back in a tailback. Archie in motion to the right. Here's a handoff this time to Andre Smith, and Smith is tackled, and down he goes at the 19-yard line, giving 3 yards. Good effort after he was hit at the 21. Dante Jones brings him down at the Georgia Tech 19. So it'll be third down. And again, 3 to go. Georgia on a 3rd and 3 at the Tech 19. Ted Roof checks back at an interior linebacker.
Yeah, it's good to have Roof back inside. Good running that time by Andre Smith. Tried the right side. The hole was not there. Tech stacked him up, but he eluded the arms of Dante Jones and a couple of other Tech tacklers. Picked up 3, so 3rd and short. Big play here in the football game.
2 tight ends, power I for Georgia. Williams this time giving off to his fullback, who's stacked up shy of the first down. Andre Smith hit by Ted Roof around the 18-yard line. He had to go to the 16, so Georgia is shy of the first down by about a good yard. So Williams looks to the Georgia bench. No Kevin Butler yet. Williams still looking in to Vince Dooley. It'll be 4th down. Timeout for Georgia. They want to get the play. You're listening to the WGSC Georgia Tech Football Network.
Reach for the stars, you can trust your heart. Reach for the stars, to the prize with the stars. Reach for the stars, the big bright Texaco stars.
If your car knocks, it's probably undernourished, so put it on a diet. Texaco's Super Unleaded Diet. It's got higher octane than regular unleaded to help knock out the knocks.
Reach for the stars, the big bright Texaco stars. Reach.
Bernie Merritt's Walton Jewelry Company is one of Atlanta's oldest independent retail jewelers, in business for over 50 years. A major factor in Walton Jewelry's success is service. Walton Jewelry is the home of the largest watch repair facility in the South. You can buy with confidence at Bernie Merritt's Walton Jewelry Company, knowing that Walton's experienced technicians can provide that all-important service after the sale. Bernie Merritt's Walton Jewelry Company, 43 Forsyth Street, downtown in the Grant Building, 1 block from 5 Points MARTA station.
Georgia at the Georgia Tech 17-yard line, 4th down and a good yard to go for the first down. Kevin Butler is checked in to the lineup for Georgia, so Butler will try a 34-yard field goal effort. The line of scrimmage, the Tech 17. Tech 14, Georgia 3. 57-yard field goal by Butler the last time. The clock shows 4:45 remaining here in the first half. And again, Georgia will go for its second field goal. And Butler, of course, Tim, is usually 100%.
Almost automatic, Al. This is a 14-play drive. It started on the Georgia 22-yard line, and it stalled down here at the 18 where Georgia was 4th and short. Looks like they're going to try the field goal. 4:45 left to go here in the second quarter. It's Tech 14, Georgia 3.
Harrell will hold at the 24-yard line, so it'll be a 34-yard effort. Tech ganging up the line with a good rush. Holding will be Harrell. Both lines set. Poised. Snap. Cut. Kicked by Butler. It is high enough. It is good. Tech 14, Georgia 6. You're listening to the WGST Georgia Tech Football Network.
When together is the best place to be, and you need us, Delta is there. If you want to fly the best you could.
Delta Airlines is on the grow again from Atlanta with more non-stops to over 24 cities. That makes getting to many places even more convenient on Delta. New non-stop flights to Dallas, Fort Worth, and Houston step up Delta service to Southwest and Far West cities. More non-stops to 7 Florida cities give you more service to the Sunshine State. And going north, you've got a bigger choice of non-stops to New York, Pittsburgh, Washington, and Richmond. See your professional travel agent or call Delta Airlines for the complete story of Delta's new services. Convenient schedules, warm personal service, and low, low fares. That's the Delta spirit.
Looking up, that's the spirit. Looking good, that's the Delta spirit. Looking up, that's the spirit.
John Lauer's stat man in the booth today. Tech 14, Georgia 6. Kevin Butler will kick off for the Georgia Bulldogs. Deep for Georgia Tech at the goal line. Corey Collier out of Columbus, Georgia. 4:41 remaining here in the second period. Tech 14, Georgia 6 on 2. Kevin Butler field goal. Tech with 2 touchdowns in the ball game. Levette and then Dewberry on a 30-yard quarterback draw. The referee, Bill Goff, set to toot the whistle. Kevin Butler awaiting the toot of the whistle. There's the toot of the whistle. Kevin Butler slowly forward. Comey led on a high kick that Corey Collier will take on a fly about 7 yards in the end zone. He kneels down for the touchback. That'll be out to the 20-yard line. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This, the WGST Georgia Tech Football Network.
I'm Dennis O'Hare. Join Teresa Cordell and me for Lifestyle, weekdays 10 till noon. At 10, Mental and Physical Well-Being. At 11, Entertainment and the Arts on WGST Atlanta.
Al Serraldo, Kim King, back at Aspen Sanford Stadium. 4:41 on the clock here in the second period. Tech 14, Georgia 6. The Jackets break the huddle. Levette's the tail of the I. Keith Flanton, your fullback. Dewberry sets his charges in the I formation. Wilkins, a wing back to the right this time, with 2 tight ends in for Georgia Tech. Here's a handoff to Levette off tackle. Levette fouls his way to the 25-yard line, and Levette goes over the 4,000 yard in his career at Georgia Tech rushing the football.
Now that time they lined up Wisenhunt and Wilkins, the 2 tight ends, in the same field, but they put Wilkins on the right wing position, Wisenhunt on the right tight end. They put Wilkins in motion, then pulled the ball real quickly and tried everything on the right side. They picked up 5.
2nd and 5 for Tech at the Tech 25. Wisenhunt, a tight end on the left side, slot back to the right. The I with Dewberry in motion. Gary Lee, the slot back. Here's the pitch to Levette at the 20. Levette going to the far side of the field at the 25. He's at the 30. Levette at the 36-yard line. First down, Georgia Tech. Levette on a toss sweep to the left that time. Good blocking by Keith Flanton. And he went for 11 yards to the 36-yard line. 1st and 10. Yellow Jackets at the Tech 36, the tackler. Knox Culpepper and Jeff Sanchez for Georgia.
Good blocking now. Tech has been able to get outside on that tall sweep against Georgia today, and Levette's got a lot of his yardage going outside. He hadn't had too much running inside those tackles.
I wasn't on a tight end on the right side. Flanker to the right. They split the left end. The I with John Dewberry. Georgia in the 6. Here's rolling right to pass. Dewberry looking. He throws across the grain. Complete to Levette at the 30. He's at the 35. He's at the 40. Levette slips and falls to the 44-yard line. So that time, rolling right with the flow of the motion was quarterback John Dewberry, and then all of a sudden he tossed it against the grain to Levette back at the 30. Levette had turned it upfield to the Georgia Tech 43-yard line. So it's a gain of 7 yards, 2nd and 3 to go.
Al Dewberry had a lot of pressure that time. They let everybody come. He did a little half roll to the right, faked to Levette, and Levette hooked up over in the left backfield over in front of the sideline. Tech's going to take a timeout.
Timeout on the playing field for the Jackets. You're listening to the WGST Georgia Tech Football Network.
If you'd like to do business with a truly exciting dealership, visit Royal Oldsmobile in their fabulous new home at 5350 Memorial Drive in Stone Mountain. You can't imagine how refreshing this dealership really is. You'll find a beautiful new facility where the people are warm and knowledgeable, where the service team is conscientious and competent, and where new Oldsmobiles and one-owner used cars are competitively priced. The entire dealership has been designed physically and philosophically to do one thing and one thing only. That is to make our customers the happiest Oldsmobile owners in America. Come, enjoy this exciting experience at Royal Olds, the dealership that's different.
You're excited at Royal Oldsmobile.
5350 Memorial Drive, Stone Mountain, 1.5 miles east of I-285.
Time is still on the playing field. 2nd and 3 for the Tech Yellow Jackets at the Tech 43. The eye set up by John Dewberry. Gary Lee, a flanker to the right. Wisenhunt, a wing back to the right. Wisenhunt in motion to the left. Here's the handoff to Levette. Off tackle, rather Collier. He's at the 45. He's at the 50-yard line. So Collier went 7 yards. First down, the Jackets at the midfield stripe. Clock 6 at 2:55 with Tech leading 14-6. The Jackets have 2 timeouts remaining here in the first half. Into the ball game for Tech. At fullback comes Malcolm King.
Georgia was in a loose defense that time. They were looking for Dewberry to throw the ball. Tech fooled them. They gave the ball to Collier on the right. Isolation play. Good hole there. Good running by Collier.
All right, the eye set up. A lot of movement in the Tech offense. Wing back to the right is Harrington. He's in motion to the left. Here's a fake this time for King, and King up the middle. King at the 45. King at the 40, and down he goes. First down, Georgia Tech, as Malcolm King, Kim, is running hard with that football.
Al, good hole up inside that time. That was a cut play that time to King, the fullback. He took it back against the grain on the left side, got a good block downfield, almost broke it. I think they're going to bring the chain gang in to see whether or not he picked up the first down. As it is, it'll stop the clock. 2:23 to go here in the second quarter. Tech leads Georgia 14-6. They stretch the chain out. They're going to rule that King has his first down. So Tech has 2 timeouts left. Georgia has 1. Tech now with a ball down inside the Georgia 40 at the 39-yard line. They're getting close to David Bell field goal range, and I'm sure they'd love to get some points, Al, in the closing moments here of the second half.
Tech's eye backfield, John Dewberry, Malcolm King, the freshman, Rambling Robert Levette. Now the Jackets shift to a lone setback. They have a wing back to the left. They have a slot to the right, Gary Lee, and then they split Norton to the right, back to pass, Dewberry, looking, rolling, starting to run at the 40. Dewberry 35. Dewberry at the 30-yard line of Georgia. 9 yards goes John Dewberry. Spreading the field out, Kim, and this kid loves to run with that football.
Allie did a good job that time. They ran Levette deep down the side. They put everybody out in the pass route except one back, King, to block for him. Georgia had a lot of heat. Dewberry saw a little opening up the middle very quickly and scrambled, picked up 9 yards. The ball right at the 30-yard line. 1:40 to go here in the second quarter. Clock ticks.
Tech at the Georgia 30. Second down on the yard to go. A lone setback behind quarterback John Dewberry. Wing back right, split left end. Levette in motion to the left. Rolling back to pass. Dewberry looking, setting up, throwing long, and nobody is there. Into the end zone. Intended for Darrell Norton, but about 20 yards over his head. I think Dewberry just threw that, Kim, long forward pass with no intention to have a completion on the play.
Al, they were trying to get Harrington down the sideline and also Levette, and then they were trying to bring Norton, who was flanked wide to the left, back underneath them across the field on a deep post pattern. But Georgia was in man coverage. They picked it up. Norton was covered. Dewberry threw the ball way over everybody's head. Incomplete pass. Tech second and short.
Third and a yard to go. 1:25 on the clock. Tech at the Georgia 30. Third down and a yard to go. High with Dewberry. King at fullback. Levette the tail of the eye. Here's the pitch to Levette at the 35. Levette cuts back at the 30. Levette at the 27-yard line. First down, Georgia Tech. As Rambling Robert cutting back at the right time, picking up the first down, Jeff Sanchez knocked him off his pin. The official marks the football at the Georgia 27-yard line. Tech with no huddle. Clock 6 at 1:18. No huddle for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. We have a flanker to the right, Gary Lee. split back behind quarterback Dewberry. 1st and 10 to go at the Georgia 27. Back to pass. Dewberry throwing. Complete to Wisenhunt. He's down and out of bounds. Inside, let's see, the official says at the 10-yard line. The out-of-bounds play stops the clock as John Little almost intercepted that pass, but Wisenhunt with a sure hand grabs it out of bounds. The out-of-bounds play stops the clock at 1:06. The ball on the 10-yard line. 1st down, Georgia Tech.
Now, great throw that time by Dewberry, but as you called it, Little went for the interception. Wisenhunt hooked up on the sidelines, but the ball got in there to Wisenhunt, and he ran on down. So Tech, 1:06 to go here in the half, in good scoring position.
1st and goal, the eye with Dewberry. Wing back to the left, wing back in motion, Wisenhunt to the right. Here's the pitch this time to Levette. Levette rolling right, he's going to throw an option pass. He decides to run, he's at the 15, Levette at the 10, and out of bounds to stop the clock at 58 seconds. Levette had the option pass in mind, Kim, decided to run the football, and let's see where he was forced out of bounds to stop the clock. The official will line it up at the 10-yard line. So it's no gain, 2nd down and 10 to go.
Now, that was the option pass. They tried it one time earlier this season. That was last week against Wake Forest, or 2 weeks ago. Levette threw the pass for a touchdown, but that time nobody was open. Flack in coverage, and Levette tried to turn it into a run, but Georgia strung it out too much and stopped him for no gain. 58 seconds to go here in the 2nd quarter. Tech leads 14-6.
2nd and goal for the Jackets at the Georgia 10-yard line. Tech 14, Georgia 6. Split back behind quarterback. John Dewberry back to pass. Dewberry looking, throwing it in the end zone. Touchdown, Gary Lee. Dewberry, and a fine reception by Gary Lee, and that time, Kim, Dewberry rifled that ball, and Gary Lee was there for the reception and the touchdown.
Al, the key to it was Dewberry was able to hold the ball, let Lee clear the zone, everybody to clear out, and then to cross him. He drilled that ball in there, and Lee made a great catch as he dove for it, went down right with it, and these fans are stunned up here in Athens. Tech 20. David Bell has a chance to make it 21-6. 54 seconds to go in the half.
26 Jackets. Let's see what David Bell can make it 21. 54 seconds on the clock in the 1st half. Wisenhunt will hold. Sutherland will snap for the Jackets. Snap. Catch. Kicked by David Bell. It's high enough. It's good. Tech 21. Georgia 6. You're listening to the WGST Georgia Tech Football Network.
You know, these days, everything is getting faster. Fast cars, fast business, fast food. I'm Pongo Poole from Aunt Fanny's Cabin with a reminder that some of the best things in life aren't rushed, like a good home-cooked meal at Aunt Fanny's Cabin. For years, our customers have known they can come in for good old-fashioned cooking, for lunch or dinner. And they know what they'll get, our specialty, fresh and juicy fried chicken. You won't find any better. We've got country fried steak that'll make your mouth water, and fresh fish served up hot and flaky. Aunt Fanny's is an Atlanta tradition, and if you haven't stopped by for a while, why not come home? We'd like to see you.
Aunt Fanny's Cabin is open 7 days a week. Join them for lunch Monday through Friday, 11:30 to 2:30, dinner Monday through Friday, 6 to 10. They're open Saturday nights for fine dining from 6 to 10:30, and join them Sunday after church anytime from 1 to 10.
Aunt Fanny's Cabin, still as good as you remember us.
All right, the Jackets lead 21-6, 3 touchdowns to Georgia's 2 field goals. 54 seconds. David Bell has set the ball up a tee at the 40-yard line. He'll kick off from the hash mark on the near sideline. Deep is Lane and Blaylock for the Georgia Bulldogs. There's the 2 to the whistle. Bell forward. Meets leather and a line drive bounding kick that Lane will take on the bounce at the 13. He's at the 15. Lane at the 20, 25, and down he goes. Hit in there by, again, Robert Massey, the freshman from Tipton, Georgia, on the kickoff team.
Well, it'll be interesting to see whether Georgia's going to try to get up into scoring position with 49 seconds to go. They have 1 timeout left, or whether or not they'll be afraid that possibly an error would turn it over and give Tech a chance to blow the game wide open. I would suspect that they'll try some safe short throws and not try to hit anything deep.
Defensively, Georgia has 6 first downs. The Jacket defense has done a job. The eye with Williams. 1st and 10 Georgia at the Georgia 25. Rolling left to pass. Todd Williams looking, throwing. Complete to Andre Smith at the 30, and down he goes at the 31-yard line. A gain of 6 yards. The pass completion. Williams to Andre Smith. Hit by Ken Parker, the defensive end for Georgia Tech from Titusville, Florida. So Georgia with no huddle at the 31. 2nd down and 4 to go. the eye. And throwing the ball out of bounds was Williams to stop the clock at 25 seconds. Incomplete forward pass. So it'll be 3rd and 4. Intended for Archie, but it was over Archie's head. Just a throw by Todd Williams to stop the clock. Georgia at the Georgia 31. 3rd down and 4 to go. Georgia huddled into the ball game. Cassius Osborne checked in with a play from Coach Vince Cooley from the near sideline. Archie checked out. 25 seconds on the clock. Georgia at the Georgia 31. 3rd down and 4 to go. One lone setback behind Todd Williams, the quarterback. Slot left flanker right. Back to pass. Todd Williams looking. He's going to throw long down the middle, and it is intercepted by Harrison. He's at the 40. Harrison fumbled the football, but Georgia Tech recovers at the 48-yard line. And with 13 seconds on the clock, the interception.
Got a flag, Al.
And a marker on the play.
Back at the 36, fans booing Williams. He just threw that ball sky high. It was interception when he let the ball go from his hands. Harrison had excellent position back there, a clip against Tech. So after Harrison fumbled the ball back and Jones recovered it at about the 47-48, Tech's going to be guilty of a clip. That'll be 15 yards from the 36. 13 seconds to go here in the half. Tech leads 21-6. I'm sure that probably, with chances very slim of getting any points out of this, and with that lead, Al, Tech will probably just elect to run the clock out.
Interception by Harrison. Todd Williams, Tim, when he throws long, hangs that ball up there for the interception.
Al, he just threw that when you could tell when he let it go, it was interception. If you're going to throw the deep bomb, unless you got a guy that's one-on-one and can beat a man, when you throw it up high like that, you're going to have an interception. Tech was in a prevent defense. Harrison was playing center field all the way, and when the ball left his hands again, you could tell a Tech man was going to come down with it. Harrison did.
All right, the Jackets break the huddle. They're going to go into the dressing room. They got Gary Lee way back to the 8-yard line. John Dewberry will probably fall on the football. Dewberry back, letting the clock run, starts to run. Dewberry faking and falls down at the 16-yard line. And let's see, we don't have a piling on penalty. And there's the end of the first half with a score. Georgia Tech, 21. Georgia, 6. You're listening to the WGSC Georgia Tech Football Network.
Lamar Carter is from Coolwood Hills, North Carolina. He tells us how BC Powder helps him keep going.
I'm the foreman of a print shop.
When you really care.
But I'm not just working for a company. I'm working for me.
And you've got to be there.
Work is in my blood. I don't want a headache to slow me down.
That's the time to take BC.
I've tried other headache powders, but nothing keeps me going like a BC.
When the pain keeps growing.
It goes to work fast. I can take one and forget about it.
But you gotta keep going.
My mother still takes BC. Like mother, like son.
That's the time to take BC.
Being foreman, I can't stop for a headache.
I only know it works for me.
If I want others to work, I've got to lead the way and do likewise.
When the pain keeps growing, but you gotta keep going. That's the time to take BC.
The original headache powder and still the #1 bestseller. Use only as directed.
When together is the best place to be and you need us, Delta is there. If you want to fly the best you could.
Delta Airlines is on the grow again from Atlanta with more non-stops to over 24 cities. That makes getting to many places even more convenient on Delta. New non-stop flights to Dallas, Fort Worth, and Houston step up Delta service to Southwest and Far West cities. More non-stops to 7 Florida cities give you more service to the Sunshine State. And going north, you've got a bigger choice of non-stops to New York, Pittsburgh, Washington, and Richmond. See your professional travel agent or call Delta Airlines for the complete story of Delta's new services. Convenient schedules, warm personal service, and low, low fares. That's the Delta spirit.
Looking up, that's the spirit. Looking good, that's the Delta spirit. Looking up, that's the spirit.
Intermission time at Athens Sanford Stadium on a sunshine afternoon. Surprise score, Georgia Tech 21, Georgia 6 at halftime. And now to carry on our halftime festivities. One of Georgia Tech's all-time great quarterbacks, a member of Tech Hall of Fame, the young left-hander, Kim King.
Thank you, Al. We're with Tommy Stinson, Atlanta sports writer. And Tommy, I'm sort of surprised at this score, 21-6 at halftime.
Perhaps the point total is surprising, Kim, but also the way Tech got him. The first quarter is pretty close to the vest deal, and in their first 3 possessions of the third quarter, second quarter, they go out and score in every one. There are long drives, there are short drives, big plays, little plays. Everything seems to be working. They're a couple of plays away from getting hurt twice. Not Tim Little. Little went over Wisenhunt for the one interception here. He tried to go over, I think it was Levette earlier over here. Missed them both just by a fingernail. He makes either one of those plays. Maybe this game isn't scoring the way it is now.
How about Dewberry? Dewberry on 2 touchdowns. Both, that's incorrect. On Malcolm King's long run and on Dewberry's touchdown, the quarterback draw. Both of them were checks. He saw the Georgia blitz. He checked off. Tech surprised Georgia with King hitting that quick hit on the fullback and then Dewberry on the score.
I saw him check off on Malcolm King's long run. I wasn't aware that the quarterback draw was one too.
Yeah.
More impressive than anything though was I think that pass he threw to Gary Lee for the touchdown. It's first and goal on the 10, which for Tech has been death this year, and he throws the ball so well that Knox Culpepper was almost directly in the line of flight. And it's so surprising the ball was so low that he had no chance to get to it, even though he wasn't on the coverage. He was covering that zone, and Dewberry just zipped it right through him.
Your observation on Tech's defense?
Well, I think they may be getting a little bit of help from Georgia's quarterback. I don't know. The only thing that seems to be working with any consistency is their option, and Todd Williams is running that well. Tech's had trouble with that sort of thing all year. But other than that, Pulpwood's got to have a little bit of a headache right now. He's got a couple for 10 or 12 yards, but I think it's like Donnie Chisholm's been in the huddle a couple times. Now, have they made some adjustment on their offensive line? Because I saw that Johnson was in there playing center for a while, and I didn't know whether Chisholm was beating on somebody enough that they made a shuffle or not.
Okay, Tom, we're going to break here and continue with you. Halftime at Sanford Stadium, Georgia Tech on top of Georgia 21-6. This is Kim King, and this is WGST Georgia Tech Football Network.
You know, these days, everything is getting faster. Fast cars, fast business, fast food. I'm Pongo Poole from Aunt Fanny's Cabin with a reminder that some of the best things in life aren't rushed, like a good home-cooked meal at Aunt Fanny's Cabin. For years, our customers have known they can come in for good old-fashioned cooking, for lunch or dinner. And they know what they'll get, our specialty, fresh and juicy fried chicken. You won't find any better. We've got country fried steak that'll make your mouth water, and fresh fish served up hot and flaky. Aunt Fanny's is an Atlanta tradition, and if you haven't stopped by for a while, why not come home? We'd like to see you.
Aunt Fanny's Cabin is open 7 days a week. Join them for lunch Monday through Friday, 11:30 to 2:30, dinner Monday through Friday, 6 to 10. They're open Saturday nights for fine dining from 6 to 10:30, and join them Sunday after church anytime from 1 to 10.
Aunt Fanny's Cabin, still as good as you remember us.
Georgia Tech football is sponsored by General GMC, the truck people in Atlanta, by AutoSure, the professional auto parts people, by Fuddruckers, the world's greatest hamburger, by BC Headache Powders for when you've got to keep going, by Bernie Merritt's Walton Jewelry Company downtown, by Texaco, makers of Haviland Supreme, and by Bud Light, the less filling light beer with the first name and taste. Now, Georgia Tech football.
Tom Stinson here at halftime at Sanford Stadium. Tech leads 21-6. If Tech can score early in the third quarter and force Georgia into a severe catch-up game, even though they're behind now, they're really not in a catch-up situation. Yes, there's a big lead, but still a half to play. Can Georgia come back with their quarterback situation?
Interesting question. There was no sign of any panic by Vince Dooley. David Dukes didn't even warm up the first half. You would think that they would want to make a switch, but they got in the same situation like this when they're playing Auburn. Dooley stuck with Williams the whole way. Granted, things haven't gone all right for the Bulldogs. As we said earlier, 2 or 3 plays maybe around keeping this back to at least a single-digit difference. But I don't know. It's not like you can turn to, say, a Rick Strom, which Tech has, and who can really throw the ball. I think they're just going to have to worry about doing the things right that they've been doing right all season.
Okay, Tom, we'll be seeing what happens in this second half, and for being our guest, you'll receive the Black Tie Men's Traveling Compact Hair Dryer from Black & Decker Black Tie. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, Kim.
Okay, I'm going to bring in now 2 veteran sports writers, Jesse Outler and Harley Bowers. I'm going to ask Jesse Outler and Harley Bowers to join us together if we can. Get these two guys over here with me. We'll just share the microphone, and if you don't mind, I'll ask Jesse first your observations on the first half.
Well, Tech played the best first half I've seen them play in a long time. Of course, the first half against Clemson would be comparable to this. Right now, as a predictor, I'm 29 points off, Kim.
Well, Jesse, when I saw your article this morning where you predicted Georgia to win, I said at least we've got some hope, because I always go the opposite way you do. I'm just kidding. Harley Bowers, your observation on that.
Well, I agree with Jesse. I think Tech's playing a fantastic game, and Dewberry's having a super game. They made all the big plays. They recovered that fumble, which I thought was a big play by Harold. Gave Georgia an opportunity to go up for a little bit more than 3-0. And the two big runs, they've come up with all the big plays. They've taken over control of the line of scrimmage. They're just doing everything right.
Tech offense has been great all year. I've been very impressed with the defense. They've flat shut Georgia down. The running game, I thought Pupwood Smith maybe be able to run from tailback, and they've stopped him completely. So I've been very impressed with the defense.
Let me ask this question hypothetically, and I don't want to sound like the game is out of hand, because it's not. At 21-6, anything can happen in the second half. But as I asked Tom Stinson, I'll pose this question to you two gentlemen. Suppose Tech scores and going in the fourth quarter, Tech's got 15 or 21-point lead. Can Georgia come back with offensively and score and if they get in that type of situation?
Well, they got to do it passing, and I would think David Dukes is the only potential passer they have that could do something like that. I would look for him to play some in the second half, maybe start the third quarter.
Jesse?
I think that's Georgia's only hope coming back, because obviously Todd Williams can run, but he can't throw the football, can't throw it today, and so I think David Dukes is their only hope. That if he can't come in and pass, I think Tech's got the game wrapped up.
Robert Levette has gone over the 4,000-yard career mark. He's got 72 yards in the first half, a 5.1-yard average. He's had some great games against Georgia his 4 years.
Well, he sure has, and I think he's played well. Georgia looked like early in the game they were going to stop him pretty well. You know, I was a little surprised before the game. Bill Curry said he hoped this was going to be a low-scoring game, and I was surprised. I thought he would want it to be a high-scoring game because you figure that Georgia would, the Tech would outscore Georgia in that type of game, and he said low-scoring game. Well, he's gotten it on one end of it, and the other side he's gotten a high-scoring game, so I guess he's pretty happy about that.
Yeah, of course, big play in that first half was Malcolm King's 58-yard run. He just got through the middle there and almost scored.
That was a blitz. Georgia had the blitz, right, and Tech hit it real quick, and he ran. I don't think anybody blocked.
And
Dewberry just ran by.
Dewberry is obviously option, and has caught Georgia. He's really befuddled Georgia's defense. He's had a fantastic half.
What about the kicking game? Andrews has had some fine kicks. Snow's done a pretty good job in this
Well, the kicking game, of course, Butler, Courier said, too, that was one thing he feared about Georgia most was Butler's field goal kicking, but, you don't match touchdowns with field goals, and Tech scored a touchdown, Georgia's getting 3 points. That's kind of one-sided.
Jesse, were you a little surprised that Vince Dooley decided to go for the field goal on the drive when it's 4-1?
I was very surprised, and 4-1 on 17, that he went for the field goal. He had a lot more confidence in his offense later on than I did.
Well, I think he must have been thinking back to the Florida game when they tried to go for a touchdown down there and didn't make it, and sort of killed the offense, but I was still surprised was behind like he was 14-3 that he would go for the field goal.
Well, by getting this big lead, they've took it out of Kelvin Butler's range right now. It doesn't matter if he kicks 70-yard field goals unless Georgia scores some touchdowns.
All right, Jesse Outler, Harley Bowers, thanks for visiting with us. Still a lot of football in that second half. Good to see you, gentlemen.
Well, it's great to see you again, Kim.
Always great, Kim. Thank you.
Okay, and of course, those two gentlemen will receive the Black Tie Men's Traveling Compact Hair Dryer from Black & Decker Black Tie. It's halftime. I'm Kim King. We'll continue after this on the WGST Georgia Tech Football Network.
Pat Beavers is from Birmingham, Alabama. She tells us how BC Powder helps her keep going.
I'm a teller at a credit union. It's like a bank.
When you really care.
There's only 3 of us, so we work together. We're a team.
And you've got to be there.
It's hard to do your part, though, when your head hurts so bad you want to scream.
That's the time to take BC.
I want fast relief, and I found BC works best for me.
When the pain keeps growing.
My dad and I used to take another powder. We switched years ago.
But you gotta keep going.
When I have a headache, there's no way I can just get up and leave.
That's the time to take BC.
I'd feel worse knowing the other tellers were needing me.
I only know it works for me.
Instead of fighting the pain, I just take a BC and keep on going.
When the pain keeps growing, but you gotta keep going. That's the time to take BC.
The original headache powder and still the #1 bestseller. Use only as directed.
Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is WGST Georgia Tech Football Network.
This is Bill Curry. I'll review our game with Georgia Monday morning at 7:50 on Atlanta's sports leader, WGST Atlanta.
Our good friend Pete Cross from down in Orlando, good Tech fan, head of the Citrus Bowl committee, is visiting in the booth with us. And Pete, you came up here at halftime before the game. You said, you know, Kim, I'm sort of, in a way, glad I'm here because being a Tech man, even though I'm impartial to the Citrus Bowl, we're delighted to have Georgia, that every team that I visited that we've invited to Citrus Bowl ended up losing the game after we picked them. So, so far, Pete, in the first half, things have come true.
Kim, I wish you hadn't told that, but beautiful day here in Athens, typical Tech Georgia game, and point spread surprises at halftime, and we know Georgia's a strong team. They'll be back. And as my pal John O'Neill said a minute or two ago, I remember leading 21-0 here at halftime and losing the game. So I think we're going to have an intense second half.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of football left. And Pete, let's talk a little bit about the Citrus Bowl. You've got an exciting matchup in Georgia and FSU. And that bowl game has taken on a lot of more of added importance in the bowl scene.
It really has, Kim. We have a fine stadium down there. In the last 5 or 6 years, we've had top-flight teams like Pittsburgh, Boston College, Auburn. We've had Georgia before, and we've had Florida State before. I think the people down there are really excited about the game, and I can tell you one thing. The people in Tallahassee and over the state of Florida that are Florida State fans are really excited about playing the Dogs.
Well, I know that for Georgia, they're behind on this score in the first half. You accurately put it right. There's still a lot of things that could go on in the second half. Kevin Butler's got to be one of the most exciting football players. I know fans would rather see touchdowns and field goals, but when you got a guy kicking 57 yards, like you and me would try to make a one-foot putt, that's got to add a lot of excitement to offensive football.
It really has, and you know, when you look at 21-6, you're talking about 15 points and a touchdown and 3 field goals, and you're there, and he really is. That field goal he kicked against Clemson was almost unbelievable, but actually the remarkable thing is his consistency from 30 to 40 yards out, and he's an outstanding athlete.
Pete, tell us that bowl game, Citrus Bowl game between FSU and Georgia is on what date?
It's on Saturday, December the 22nd at 1:30, and this year we'll be carried on NBC. We just signed a 5-year contract with them. We're really excited about that.
Pete Cross, thanks for visiting with us, and good luck to you in the Citrus Bowl. You've got an exciting matchup, and best of luck in the future.
Thanks. Good to be with you.
Pete Cross, our good friend from down in Orlando, visiting here with us, and of course, he too will receive the Black Tie Men's Traveling Compact Hairdryer from Black & Decker Black Tie. It's halftime here at Sanford Stadium. Georgia's band performing out on the field. Tech leads 21-6. We'll be back with halftime stats after this. I'm Kim King on the WGST Georgia Tech Football Network.
Ruud Air Conditioning builds certain cooling units that earn a seasonal energy efficiency rating up to 12.3. What does a Ruud Advantage high-efficiency unit mean to you? It means you can cool your home a great deal more efficiently than with inefficient units, often installed as original equipment in houses. And when your unit is more efficient, you can use less electricity, and that costs less money. Call your Ruud Air Conditioning dealer. Ask about Ruud high-efficiency cooling for your home. Distributed in Georgia by Dealer Supply Company.
Why do we call Texaco's Haviland Supreme Motor Oil Supreme? It's the finest 10W40 motor oil we've ever offered. It not only gives you proven engine protection up front, demonstrated in over 1 million miles of State Trooper testing, it also gives you improved mileage. In fuel economy tests, Haviland Supreme delivered improved mileage compared to a conventional 10W40 motor oil. Trooper tested protection and improved mileage in one motor oil. No wonder we call this Haviland Supreme.
We're moments away from the second half kickoff. Let's quickly run down those stats. Again, the score, Tech leads Georgia 21-6. First downs, 11 for the Jackets, 6 for Georgia. Rushing yardage, Tech a decided advantage in this category. 189 yards on the ground and 26 snaps. Robert Levette, 65 yards. He went over the 4,000-yard career mark today. Malcolm King, the freshman fullback, leads all rushers, 69 yards, 3 snaps. And of course, he had a 58-yard run in that second period. For Georgia, Todd Williams leads all rushers on his side. He's got 57 yards. Those coming as a result of scrambles off the quarterback rollout play. Passing yardage, 62 yards for Tech, 20 for Georgia. Dewberry is 6 of 10. He's thrown that one touchdown pass in the closing seconds of the second half. Total offense, 251 yards for the Jackets in the first half. For Georgia, 118 yards. Williams is 4 of 9. He's thrown one interception. He's been sacked one time. Dewberry has not been sacked. Tech has recovered one Georgia fumble. There's been one penalty assessed in the ball game. That one a 15-yarder against Tech. A clipping call in the closing seconds of the half. Possession time, Tech 15 minutes, 5 seconds. Georgia 14 minutes, 55 seconds. So punting, Snow is kicked for a 40.6-yard average. Andrews, 45 yards. And, of course, Kevin Butler has kicked 2 field goals in that first half. Levitt has scored on a 3-yard run. Then Dewberry went 30 yards on a quarterback draw for another touchdown. Then Gary Lee caught a 10-yard John Dewberry pass. That resulted in 21 of the Tech points. And, of course, again, Butler with 2 field goals, 21-6 here at halftime. Moments away from this kickoff, Al Sorello rejoins us in just a few moments. I'm Kim King, and this is the WGST Georgia Tech Football Network.
You know when you're taking it easy with an ice cold Budweiser, enjoying that clean, crisp taste, you know every Bud is the best it can be. This Bud's for you, for all you do, the king of beers is coming through. Hey, this Bud for you. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay, car owners, you want it, you've got it with AutoSure, the professional auto parts people. Autolite spark plugs have a unique power tip that runs like 2 plugs, hot on short trips to help solve starting problems, misfirings, and hesitation, and cold on long trips. Stop stalling and get in tune with Autolite spark plugs. Where is AutoSure? AutoSure is everywhere, with over 140 auto parts stores throughout the Southeast. See your yellow pages for the one nearest you.
Both teams back on the field, moments away from kickoff. Georgia won the toss. They elected to defer the decision until that second half, so Tech received in the first half. Now Tech will kick off to Georgia.
And deep for the Bulldogs goes Fred Lane and Stanley Blaylock. Blaylock to the near sideline. Fred Lane to the far sideline. David Bell from Clark Central High School, the sophomore, out of Athens, Georgia. Setting the ball up on a tee at the 40-yard line. Tech surprisingly in the first half, 21, Georgia 6. But the Jackets have their work cut out for them with 30 minutes of football in front of them. Levitt went over the 4,000-yard mark in the first half, 4,022 yards, 13 carries for 65. Levitt now 14 touchdowns of the season, 46 in his career. The referee, Bill Goss, lining up the 2 teams. Still in front of the football. Dewberry, 6 out of 10 throwing the football. 62 yards. He has 1,841 yards. That's a lot of yards in passing, Kim.
Al, he's done a tremendous job, and he's done it with a lot of finesse this year, as opposed to not really having a good arm when he came over to Tech, but he's really developed a fine arm, and he's doing a lot of thinking and reading, and that's important for a quarterback. To make the right decisions, that's been a factor for John Dewberry.
Bill Goss toots the whistle. David Bell forward. Toe meets lead on a line drive type kick that Lane is chasing down and goes out of bounds in the end zone. Almost, he went out of bounds on the 1-yard line.
Now they're going to rule he went out of bounds in the end zone. Touchback. No, wait a minute. Now they're
he went out of the 1, Jim. He tried to save the ball, but instead of letting it go, he went out of bounds with the football, caught it at the 1-yard line.
Oh, that is a big break.
Now they're going to move it out to the 20.
I thought the official ruled the touchback. One official looked like he had his foot inside the flag, and the head referee ruled the touchback. So Georgia gets the touchback and gets the ball out on the 20.
The new quarterback for Georgia is David Dukes, the freshman, 5'11", 179-pounder out of Athens, Clark Central High School. So Georgia's going to go with David Dukes in the second half. The eye set up by David Dukes. McCluskey and Andre Smith in that eye backfield. Rolling right to pass, David Dukes throwing. It is complete to McCluskey at the 25-yard line. So the pass completion, David Dukes to David McCluskey. Ted Roop knocks McCluskey down at the 20. Official marks it at the 24-yard line. Give him 4 yards. 2nd and 6 to go. Georgia at the Georgia 24.
Now they put McCluskey out in the flat. Dukes roll over that way, threw the little short pass. That's a good call for a quarterback just coming in the game. Not a dangerous throw. It was a short one to try to build his confidence.
Archie, a flanker to the left. The eye with David Dukes. In motion, Scott Williams. Here's the handoff to Andre Smith, who fights his way to about the 30-yard line. First down, rather, check it, he's been about a half foot shy of the first down at the 29-yard line. Dante Jones and Ted Roop combining on the tackle for Georgia Tech. So the official marks the ball about a foot shy of the first down, third down, and a foot to go at the 29-yard line of Georgia. McCluskey, Mangrum, Smith. So they get the power eye backfield in there with two tight ends, power eye, third and a foot to go. Tech gangs up with an 8 front. Here's the pitch this time to the tailback, who fights his way for the first down, Andre Smith at the 32-yard line. Tackled by Jim Anderson, interior linebacker, and Reginald Rutland. So the chains move. First down, Georgia at the Georgia 33-yard line.
Well, that was just a power sweep to the left side. That play is designed to go inside the tackle. Georgia pulls their guard, tries to just muscle it up inside. That time Smith got his first down.
Georgia breaks the huddle. Flanker out to the right. Hockaday, flanker right. They split the left end, Osborne. Here's Dukes rolling left to pass. Looking, throwing, and it is incomplete. Broken up by Anthony Harrison on the play. Incomplete forward pass intended for Cassius Osborne. Incomplete forward pass, 2nd and 10.
Now they ran Osborne out, flanked him on the left side, ran him on an out pattern. Rutland in coverage. Dukes rolled to his left, threw the ball low outside. Rutland broke on the ball, had excellent position. Ball was thrown out of bounds. We couldn't tell whether he caught it out of bounds or whether it was incomplete, but in no either event, incomplete pass.
Archie checks in, a split left end. Hockaday, flanker right, the eye with David Dukes. Here's Dukes on the option to the right, on a keeper play, and Dukes turns it upfield to about the 37-yard line for a 4-yard pickup. Pat Swilling, Ken Parker, and Donnie Chisholm all ganging up. David Dukes on the option to the right. So give him, as they unpile at the 37, give him 4 yards. 3rd down and 6 to go. Possession play for Georgia at the Georgia 37. Third period, Tech 21, Georgia 6.
Tech checks in 6 defensive backs, Al. They've got, they take Anderson and they take Dante Jones out and put in 2 defensive backs. 2 more defensive backs.
Georgia breaks the huddle, 3rd and 6 at the Georgia 37. The eye set up by David Dukes. Tech in a 3-man front. Dukes rolls left to pass. Looking, pressures, and down he goes. Ted Root firing through to knock him down at the 31-yard line, a loss of 6 yards. Good play by the interior linebacker, Ted Root from Central Gwinnett High School.
Al, what they did that time, he was trying to throw to Smith, who was flaring out to the left, but because Tech put 6 defensive backs in, they checked in 2, took out 2 interior people. Ingram was in man coverage on Smith. He took that short throw away. Dukes had to try to take it down and run, but Root knocked him for the loss.
And deep punt formation, Chip Andrews. Single safety for Georgia Tech. Malden at the 22-yard line. Good pass from center. Andrews gets his foot in the football. And Ingram calls fair catch. And fair caught it at the 35-yard line of Georgia Tech. The punt 34 yards for Chip Andrews. The Jackets with good position at the Tech 35. The announcers on this broadcast, employed by WGST in conjunction with Georgia Tech Athletic Association, are solely responsible to and are paid by WGST News Talk 92, Atlanta, Georgia. Any use of today's broadcast without the prior written consent of WGST News Talk 92 is strictly prohibited. All rights reserved. Copyright 1984, the Meredith Corporation. Here's on the option keeper, Dewberry at the 37, 40-yard line, and down he goes at the 42. Make it the 43, give Dewberry on the option keeper. He goes 8 yards, 2nd and 2, Jackets at the Georgia Tech 43-yard line.
Well, I like that play. Dewberry fakes inside to his fullback. He holds the linebackers. Then he wheels outside, comes down the line for the option. That time he saw it back inside. He darted in there and picked up 8. Nobody has been able to stop that option play on Dewberry this year.
Dewberry, Glanton, Levette, Tech's eye backfield. Dewberry on the count. They split the left end. Wing back goes to the right. Gary Lee in motion to the left. Here this time is the handoff to the fullback, Glanton, who fights his way past the 45-yard line. He got the first down for Georgia Tech, hit by Bill Mitchell, the interior linebacker out of Dalton, Georgia, for the Bulldogs. So they move the chains. First down, Georgia Tech at the Tech. Now they want the chain gang in for a measurement at the 46-yard line.
John Davis thinks he's got the first down. Now, quick update on the score while they bring the chains in. No, first down Tech. Alabama leading Auburn 17-15, that one in the 4th quarter.
Big ball game. Auburn trying for the Sugar Bowl this afternoon with a win over Alabama. All right, the Jackets with 11:05 on the clock in the 3rd period. Tech 21, Georgia 6. The Jackets with the first down. Let's call it the 46-yard line of Georgia Tech. First and 10 to go. Tech in an I backfield. Glanton behind. Now they shift to split backs behind quarterback Dewberry. Your running backs Levette and Glanton. In motion, Wisenhunt. Back to pass. Dewberry looking. Swing pass complete to Glanton. He's at the 45. Glanton at the 47, 48-yard line. He picks up 2 yards as Andy Lloyd brings him down. A little swing pass out to Glanton. The safety valve was there with Glanton as Dewberry was looking downfield and elected to throw to his safety valve. Keeps Glanton out of Villarica.
Now, good defense that time by Lloyd. He was dropping off in coverage in the left flat. They swung Glanton to the right. Dewberry read that he couldn't get the ball downfield, dumped it off to Glanton, his safety valve. Lloyd made a fine open field tackle.
The post set with Dewberry. Georgia in a 5 front. Lee flanker left. Lee in motion right. Here's the pitch of time to Levette at the 45. Levette cuts back to the 50. Levette to the 49-yard line of Georgia. Picking up 3 tough yards. Rambling Robert Levette hit by Knox Culpepper and Billy Mitchell, the 2 interior linebackers. So the Jackets at the Georgia 49. So make a 3rd down and a long 5 to go at the Georgia 49-yard line. Big play for John Dewberry in the Tech offense.
Well, that time Levette couldn't get outside because they couldn't hook the outside backer for Georgia on that side. He had to turn it back inside to the flow of the Georgia defense.
Split back behind Dewberry on a 3rd and 5 from the Georgia 49. Harrington in motion to the left. Dewberry rolls right to pass. Looking, rolling at the 45. Dewberry 50. Dewberry 45. Dewberry out of bounds at the 44-yard line of Georgia. First down for Georgia Tech. And rambling Robert Levette, Kim, gave him the good block he needed.
He gave him the key block, Al. If Levette had not made that block for him, he would not have been able to pick up the first down. So Dewberry rolling right, has the option to run or throw, saw that he had some room over on that right side, picked up a great block by Robert Levette. Dewberry lunged out with the ball right as he was going down, and that was enough to pick up the 13th first down of this football game for Tech.
Tech with 2 tight ends, Wisenhunt and Gary Wilkins. The Jackets break the huddle. Lee, flanker left. 2 tight ends for the Jackets. I with Dewberry at the Georgia 44. Wilkins in motion. Now becomes a wing back on the left side. Dewberry, now Wilkins moving. Hand off to Levette off tackle. Levette fights his way down close to the 40-yard line. Rambling Robert Levette, tracking inside. Clock ticks, 8:55 in the 3rd period. Tech 21, Georgia 6. Second down play coming up for Georgia Tech. That's a nice tackle by Knox Culpepper at the 40-yard line. 2nd and 6 to go. Give Rambling Robert 4 yards. Harrington checks in. Corey Collier checks in for the Jackets. Levette checks out. Glanton checks out. Passanella in a fullback. Harrington in a flanker back. The Jackets now with Darrell Norton at split end. Norton split to the right. Harrington the slot right. In motion, Harrington to the left. Dewberry pitching out this time to Corey Collier, 45. He cuts to the 40. Collier, 35. He's at the Georgia 31-yard line. First down, Georgia Tech. Knocked down by the left quarterback, Tony Pratt. And Corey Collier with a burst of speed, Tim.
Well, he got some great blocking out there. Harrington threw a good block, and he also got a good block by his tight end on the left side, Ken Wisenhunt. Then he showed great acceleration, and Collier checks out. Levette checks back in. Tremendous run, great acceleration, Corey Collier.
The Jackets threatening again. They lead 21-6. 3rd period. The I with John Dewberry. Saxon out I. King and Levette the tail of the I. Tech with a swap to the left. Long count by John Dewberry. In motion. Gary Lee to the right. Here's the handoff to King. King up the middle at the 30. He's at the 20. 10, 5. Touchdown. Georgia Tech. The same play. 31-yard scamper by the freshman, Malcolm King. The Jackets are back on the board. Tech 27, Georgia 6, and the freshman from America's Tim, only a freshman. The Jackets have a great fullback in Malcolm King.
Well, he accelerated up inside. He got great blocking up there. John Davis, John Thomas, Tony Capano. Nothing fancy about that. They just blew Georgia off the ball. The hole was there. King just simply outran everybody. And boy, I'll tell you what, there are some stunned fans in this stadium here as Tech has jumped out front 27-6. Bell has a chance for the PA.
Wisenhunt will hold. David Bell will try to make it 28. Snap, touch, kick by David Bell. It's high enough. It's good. Georgia Tech 28. Georgia 6. 7:51 on the clock in the 3rd period. You're listening to the WGSC Georgia Tech Football Network.
If you're looking for the best value in checking today, look no further than C&S, because a C&S Money Saver checking account may fit your budget just right. For only $3.75 a month, you get up to 15 checks or instant banking withdrawals, and there's no minimum balance required. Money Saver checking at C&S. 15 checks, only $3.75 a month. It's the best value in checking at the best place to bank. Think of your future with CNS. Member FDIC.
Reach for the stars, you can trust your heart. Reach for the stars, to the products with the stars. Reach for the stars, the big bright Texaco stars.
You know those knocks in your car? Well, it's time to knock them out with Texaco Super Unleaded Gasoline. It's got higher octane than regular unleaded to help knock out the knocks.
Reach for the stars, the big bright Texaco stars. Reach.
The extra point by Bunky Henry. Brother David Bell ties Bunky Henry's 32 extra points in one season. Bunky was with you, Tim.
Al, he was a great kicker. David Bell has done a tremendous job. I've never seen a guy turn around as much dramatically, I should say, as David Bell. Last year, probably didn't have a lot of confidence. Ron Rice was a kicker, but Bell has stepped in here and has done a tremendous job. 13 of 15 on field goal attempts, and I think he's the comeback player of the year in my book.
Malcolm King, the freshman out of Americus, Georgia, 4 carries, 100 yards.
Al, he's just played great. That time, again, he outran Georgia's secondary once he broke that line of scrimmage. And that drive went 65 yards in 8 plays, and King went over from 31 yards out. Tech, tremendous blocking inside. Another fine run by Malcolm King.
Bill Goss toots the whistle. David Bell forward. Homie led on a high kick that Freddie Lane is chasing down and goes out of bounds at the 3-yard line, so the Jackets will get a 5-yard penalty, which will force them to kick off from the 35.
Al, had that ball gone inside the flag and out of bounds, it would have been brought out to the 30-yard line. But since it went out of bounds in the field of play, then it's a 5-yard penalty, and we'll bring it back and kick it again.
So David Bell this time will set the ball up on a tee at the 35 at Georgia Tech. Lane and Blaylock, the speedsters, deep at the Georgia 5-yard line. Tech 28, Georgia 6. 7:51 on the clock in the third period. Tech trying for their 6th win of the season, trying to close the campaign at 6-4-1. Georgia sporting a record of 7-3, headed for the Citrus Bowl December 22nd against FSU, trying to pick up their 8th win. But right now, the Jackets with a 22-point lead. David Bell again has set the ball up on a tee at the 40. Sammy Lilly, the cheerleader, wants the Tech crowd across the way. There's a 2 to the whistle. Bell forward. Homie Leather, and a long one that will be taken on the fly at the goal line by Lane. He's at the 10. Lane at the 15. He's at the 20. 25, and down he goes around the 26-yard line. Tackled by Bart Jones and Kevin Henderson on the kickoff team for Georgia Tech.
Al, there's a flag. No, that's not a flag. It's a towel. There's a yellow towel off of one of Tech players down at the ball, but thought it was a flag for a moment.
So Georgia takes over at the Georgia 26-yard line. 1st and 10 to go. Your quarterback is David Dukes. McCluskey and Smith, your eye backfield. Hockaday, your flanker back for Georgia. Hockaday, flanker left. The eye with David Dukes, the freshman, out of Athens. Here's David Dukes, play action. Back to pass, looking, throwing over the flat to screen. Complete to Smith, he's at the 30. Smith is down at the 31-yard line by Ted Root, the interior linebacker. So they fading deep that time was David Dukes, threw a little screen pass on the right flat to Andre Smith, and Smith upfield picks up 5 yards on the pass completion. 2nd and 5 to go.
Now, that was good defense by Tech that time. Smith floated over in that right short side flat, and Dukes found him over there, but Tech recovered quickly. He picked up 5 on the play.
The eye set up by David Dukes, the tail of the eye, Andre Smith, the up back McCluskey. In motion, the flanker back Hockaday. And up to Smith off tackle. He's at the 35. Fouls his way to the 38-yard line. First down for the Georgia Bulldogs, the tacklers for Georgia Tech. Mark Pike from Villa Hills, Kentucky. The junior. Tech playing with us. 2 seniors on the defensive starting lineup, Tim.
Al, and Ivory Lee, not to take anything away from Donnie Chisholm, the nose guard, but Ivory Lee was injured in the year, and he really alternates in that first team position. So if you really look at it technically, Tech's going to lose one key defender. Of course, they'll lose a good one in Chisholm.
The eye with David Dukes. In motion, Hockaday to the left. Here's Dukes this time rolling left to pass. Setting up, throwing. It is intercepted by Jones. He's at the 20. Jones at the, picked up at about the 17-yard line. The interception by Dante Jones. Jones ran it back to the 17 of Georgia. David Dukes, who threw the pass on the tackle, saving a touchdown by Georgia Tech at the 17-yard line of Georgia. And, Kim, the Jackets have the big momentum.
Al, if Tech gets a touchdown here, they'll blow this game wide open. And I'm sure that Dewberry is aware of that. 6:30 to go in the third quarter. Tech leads 28-6. Jones made a brilliant interception. He's a senior. He's one of the guys that they'll lose next year. He just stepped in front of the receiver, almost scored.
The Jackets break the huddle deep. John Davis up over that football. The eye with Dewberry, the tail of the eye. Robert Levette. Here's the handoff to Levette off tackle. Levette goes to the 15. Cuts back. Levette is tackled close to the 11-yard line. The rambling Robert going wide, cutting back in, knocked down and stacked up by Kevin Harris, the right cornerback for Georgia. The official marks the football at the 11, 6 yards for Levette. Levette with 78 yards on the afternoon carrying the football.
Allie almost broke that one that time. They ran the isolation play to the left side. Levette checks out of the ball game as well as Glenton. They've got Dave Passanella in it. Your tailback.
The eye with Dewberry. Passanella and Collier stacked in that eye with Dewberry. Gary Lee, flanker right. Here's the handoff to Collier. Collier hurdles the line, goes over the 10, down to about the 9-yard line. Steve Oswald, the interior linebacker, on the tackle for Georgia. Clock ticks. 5:40 remaining in the third period. Tech 28, Georgia 6, and again, the Jackets, as a result of Dante Jones' interception, knocking at the door again at the 9-yard line. So make it 3rd and 2. The Jackets at the Georgia 9. Tech huddles. The ball on the hash mark on the far side of the field at the 9-yard line of Georgia. Andy Hearn replacing John Davis at center. Check it. Oh, John Davis stays in there at a tackle position, Tim. So the Jackets loading up. The eye was an unbalanced line. Powerhouse line for the Jackets. And now Dewberry wants a timeout. He didn't like the Georgia defense. You're listening to the WGST Georgia Tech Football Network.
It's the home of the world's greatest hamburger. It's Fuddruckers, and it's open now at Perimeter Center right in front of the Marriott. The burgers aren't just big. They're ground right before your eyes and cooked to order. You dress it yourself, too, from a fresh produce case that'll make your mouth water. And don't stop there. At Fuddruckers, you also get fresh ribeye steak sandwiches, spicy knockwurst, and tasty bratwurst from Texas. Plus, some of the best hot dogs you'll find anywhere. Fuddruckers also has a full-service bar with premium brands, wine, and long neck beer. And a fresh bakery with cookies and brownies so good, you'll know they were made today.
Fresh at Fuddruckers. Get fresh at Fuddruckers. Cooked beef, fried potatoes. Come and see our tomatoes. Get fresh. Get fresh at Fuddruckers.
Open 6 days a week till 11, Sundays till 10. You'll remember the world's best hamburger as long as you remember the name. Fuddruckers, next to the Marriott at Perimeter Center.
3rd down and 2 to go. Tech at the Georgia 9. Hearn checks out. And so Davis remains in the center as Gary Lee comes in a flanker back position.
Al, the timeout Dewberry took, he was late getting the play off, and the time clock got down to 1 second. He very wisely took the timeout rather than take the 5-yard penalty. Over in Birmingham, Alabama leads Auburn 17-15. Auburn tried a 42-yard field goal. It was no good. 20 seconds left to go in that game was our best update. So unless there's some miracle that happens there, it looks like Alabama will knock Auburn out of the sugar. That'll put LSU, Al, in it.
Well, they get the hometown team in there, Kim.
Well, those Cajuns, I'll guarantee you, they'll make the trip down to New Orleans. That's a tough place to play over in Baton Rouge.
At the 9-yard line, Georgia Tech, 3rd and 2. The Jackets in the I formation with a wing back to the left. 2 tight ends. On the count, John Dewberry in motion. Gary Lee to the right. Rolling right to pass Dewberry. Looking, pumping, throwing. Touchdown, Georgia Tech. You guessed it, to Gary Lee. His 2nd touchdown pass. 4 touchdown pass receptions for Lee this year.
Al, give John Dewberry credit. He came outside. He had great blocking by that offensive line. He just simply strung it out. He waited to Lee, through his man coverage, worked his way open in that end zone, and then he hit him with a pass. There is bedlam that has broken out over here in the white and gold side of this stadium. There is shock and disbelief in the red and black here at Sanford Stadium. Georgia Tech 34-6. That's right, 34-6. David Bell's got a chance to make it 35.
All right, let's see whether David Bell can make it 35. Snap, touch, kicked it high enough. That is good. Tech 35. Georgia on 2 field goals, 6. You're listening to the WGST Georgia Tech Football Network.
have always been designed for rugged dependability. And at General GMC, they're backed all the way. When you invest in a Kenworth, you get a Kenworth that's custom engineered to be the best truck for your operation. And the truck specialists at General GMC can show you why.
When you can depend on General GMC.
745 Memorial Drive, exit I-20 at Boulevard.
Introducing Star Power, the extra power you can get when Texaco Super Unleaded gasoline helps knock out the NOx. Compared to regular unleaded fuel, it can help give you more car power.
If your engine's knocking, you may need a boost. Give it Star Power, then turn it loose. Put a Texaco punch in the tank of your car. Star Power for Star Power.
The Jackets, 17 yards after the interception by Dante Jones. 3 plays. Kim, the Jackets with a surprising 35-6 lead.
And now the thing about it, Georgia just simply hadn't been able to stop Tech since early on in the second quarter. Tech did not score a point in that first quarter. As a matter of fact, it was 3-0 Georgia. And then Tech scored 21 points in the second quarter. They scored a touchdown on their first possession. Malcolm King going over from 31 yards out. And then that time, Dewberry just made a great play. He held the ball down until Gary Lee found his way, worked his way open in the end zone and hit him. Nobody was around him for a touchdown. Tech's got a chance to simply blow Georgia out. Georgia's got to go to the air, and that's been a weakness for them to come back throwing the ball.
Jim, the Red is leaving the stadium again. There's a 2 to the whistle. David Bell forward. Comey with a bounding kick that bounces into the hands this time of Mangrum. He is back to about the 35-yard line on the return. Ralph Malone on the kickoff team on the tackle, and we've got a marker team on the play.
Now, I think that's going to be against Tech off sides, but Georgia probably came up with such good field position that they'll probably take the ball. Let's see what they're waving off the penalty, so they want the ball. The ball was a bounding kick, and Georgia took it up to the 35. Georgia will just take it there.
Tech 35, Georgia 6. 4:56 on the clock here in the third period. At quarterback for Georgia, David Dukes. Williams went all the way in the first half. No results. David Dukes, your new quarterback. McCluskey, the fullback. Tom Jackson, the junior, the tail of the eye at tailback. Hockaday is your flanker back. Tech sending in their defensive unit. Georgia breaks the huddle. 1st and 10 at the 35-yard line of Georgia. Andre Smith is in the ballgame at fullback. One lone setback behind quarterback David Dukes. Dukes back to pass. Setting up, looking, throwing, and it is complete to Scott Williams and out of bounds on the far side of the field. Reginald Rutland knocks the tight end out in front of the Georgia Tech fence, and let's see the official marks the football at the Georgia Tech 47-yard line. First down, Georgia at the Georgia Tech 47-yard line.
Al, that was a crossing pattern that time by Williams. He was lined up on the left side, went down and came across the field over in the right flats. Dukes found him wide open over there, and he put the ball on the money.
The Georgia fans, Kim, are leaving the stadium dressed in their red. And here we're only in the third period. Lone setback behind Dukes. Dukes giving off to his fullback on the draw play. He's at the 40. Smith at the 40 at the Georgia Tech 35-yard line. Tripped up in there by Ricardo Ingram, the freshman, the free safety man for Georgia Tech. So the Bulldogs on 2 plays. From the Georgia 35, they're at the Georgia Tech 35. So they've moved 30 yards in 2 plays. And now Georgia at the Georgia Tech 35, 1st and 10.
Don Lindsay, defensive coordinator, really upset on the sideline. Tech had a chance to hit Smith in the backfield, but sloppy tackling, good running by Smith. They got another first down.
Georgia in the eye with David Dukes. Here's Dukes this time back to pass. Rolls right now. Pump one. Throwing down the middle. Incomplete. Almost intercepted by Reginald Rutland, intended for the tight end Scott Williams. Incomplete pass. Stops the clock at 4:22 here in the third period.
Well, that time good coverage by Tech. Tech in zone coverage. Was trying to go to his big tight end down about 15, 20 yards downfield, but the ball was overthrown, and it had been overthrown a little bit more. Tech had a shot at the interception. Incomplete. Now 4:22 to go in the third quarter. Tech leads 35-6.
All right, the Jackets show Georgia 3 down linemen front. The eye was quarterback David Dukes in motion to the left. Dukes rolls left to pass. Pump. Throwing one as he floats one up there. It is knocked down by Ricardo Ingram. Intended for Fred Lane. Beautiful move by Ricardo Ingram as he played him running step by step and it was one of the floaters again, and Ricardo almost intercepted him.
Well, he made a great play that time. He came back, saw that Lane was going to do a down-out-down move. Dukes went for the home run, and Ricardo Ingram reacted and had to really cover some ground from that free safety position. As it was, he went up and had his hands on the ball. It came down incomplete.
Georgia huddle, 3rd and 10, Georgia at the Tech 35. The Bulldogs break the huddle. Smith at fullback, Tron Jackson at tail of the eye. Dukes your quarterback on the count. Spread lane, flanker left. Back to pass. Pressured. Is Dukes rolling at the 45 of Tech at the 40. He has run out of bounds. The official says, let's see where they will mark it, at the 33-yard line of Georgia Tech. Forced out of bounds by Jim Anderson. So it'll be 4th down and 8 to go at the 33. 10 seconds for station identification. This is the WGSC Georgia Tech Football Network.
This is Bill Curry. Got a question about Georgia Tech football? Wednesday nights at 7:10, it's your chance to call in and discuss today's game on WGST Atlanta.
Al Serraldo, Kim King, back at Athens Sanford Stadium. Kevin Butler will try his 3rd field goal, 50 yards. The line of scrimmage at 33. Harrell will hold. Snap, touch, kicked by Butler. It is high enough. It is good. His 3rd field goal, Tech 35. Georgia with 3 field goals, 9, 4:01 remaining here in the 3rd period. You're listening to the WGSC Georgia Tech Football Network.
Ruud Air Conditioning builds certain cooling units that earn a seasonal energy efficiency rating up to 12.3. What does a Ruud Advantage high-efficiency unit mean to you? It means you can cool your home a great deal more efficiently than with inefficient units, often installed as original equipment in houses. And when your unit is more efficient, you can use less electricity, and that costs less money. Call your Ruud Air Conditioning dealer. Ask about Ruud high-efficiency cooling for your home. Distributed in Georgia by Dealer Supply Company. Bernie Merritt's Walton Jewelry Company is your source for top-quality name-brand watches, fine jewelry, diamonds, gifts, and home electronics, and has been for over 50 years. Atlantans have relied on Walton Jewelry since 1931, knowing that they can depend on Walton's large selection for just the right watch, diamond, or gift. Personal service is your assurance of satisfaction at Bernie Merritt's Walton Jewelry Company, 43 Forsyth Street in the Grant Building downtown, 1 block from 5 Points MARTA Station.
All right, Georgia will kick off to Georgia Tech. Tech looking for an onside kickoff. Tech 35, Georgia 9 on 3 field goals by Kevin Butler. 4:01 on the clock here.
Al, very quickly, some scores. Auburn has been upset. Alabama's defeated them 17-15. Boston College has defeated Holy Cross 38-10. Army is leading Navy 28-11 in the 4th quarter. Also 4th quarter scores, Tennessee 26, Vandy 7.
The Jackets deep at the 17-yard line. Tech looking for the onside kick. Kevin Butler will kick off for Tech. Cleve Pound and Corey Collier at the 19-yard line of Georgia Tech. In twin receivers, deep for the Jackets. There's the 2 to the whistle. Butler forward. Comey led a high kick that is caught and down by Collier at the 3-yard line.
Boy, Al, that was a big mistake there. I know Collier was trying to get back to that ball. He took it over his shoulder. He was playing up, and he downed the ball back on the 3-yard line. So 3:58 to go here in the 3rd quarter. Butler kicks the ball high. Collier downs it back at the Tech 3. Tech has it back against the wall.
All right, the Jackets 1st and 10 at the Tech 3-yard line. 3:58 on the clock, only in the 3rd period. Tech 35, Georgia 9. The Jackets, Dewberry, Glanton, and Levette, your eye backfield. Harrington, your flanker back. The Jackets break the huddle. Up over that football, big John Davis. Georgia shows Tech a 6 front. Wilkins, a wing back to the right. The eye with Dewberry. In motion, Wilkins to the left, the handoff to Levette at the 5. Levette at the 7-yard line. 4 yards goes Levette off tackle. Knocks Paul Pepper, the all-SEC linebacker, and he's a good one. John Little also in a tackle for Georgia at the 7-yard line. 2nd and 6. Tech at the Georgia Tech 7-yard line. Clock ticked at 3:40 remaining in the 3rd period.
Al, for Tech, they want to use some clock. They want to get the ball off this goal line. If they're going to have to punt it, they want to use some clock and get it off the goal line. But that becomes a factor for them, and big factor for Georgia. They got to get the ball back quick, try to get some more points.
Dewberry sets up the eye. The wing back is Wisenhunt in motion to the left. Here's Dewberry this time pitching off to Levette. Levette at the 5, close to the far side of the field. Levette cuts inside and out of bounds. Let's see where he went out of bounds. Right at the line of scrimmage, I believe. They're going to mark it. forced out of bounds by Kevin Harris at the 8-yard line. Let's give him a yard to the 3rd and 5. The out-of-bounds play stops the clock at 3:15 in the third period.
That time, Georgia just sprung it out. In the first half, Tech was able to hook the outside linebackers of Georgia, and that's where the tight end gets on the outside and turns him back inside, that backer, and Levette was able to get outside. This half, Georgia's taken that away, and Levette just simply hadn't any room.
Wing back, Wizenhut in motion. The eye with Dewberry. Dewberry this time on the option keeper. Dewberry fights his way to the 13-yard line. He's very close to a first down. Option keeper Dewberry to about the 13. They're looking to the chains. Let's see whether we have a measurement. He's going to be about a foot shy from our vantage point, although they'll come in for a measurement probably. All right, so they'll bring the chain gang in for a big measurement at the 13-yard line of Georgia Tech. The measurement stops the clock at 3:05 in the third stanza.
It will be a big measurement here because if Tech is forced to punt, Georgia's going to get a good field position.
They stretch it out. Tech missed it by about 10 inches.
They're going to punt it, Al. No question about it here. You got to punt it. You got to lead like this. You don't want to do anything that may stop you. And if Georgia's going to score, then you hope that your coverage team, you get a good kick by your kicker and make them at least come back up the field some. So Tech doing the right thing in punting here.
Georgia has a return on. Your safety man will be Jimmy Harrell. Deep for Georgia Tech, kicking it from about the goal line, Mike Snow, the junior college transfer. Snapping the football for Georgia Tech is Big Ken Sutherland out of Powder Springs, Georgia. Georgia has a return on, 35-9. Georgia has scored 3 field goals. The Jackets 5 touchdowns. Snow waiting with his outstretched hands will kick from the end zone. The line of scrimmage at 13. Good pass from center. Snow gets his foot in the football. A line drive type kick, and it's taken on a fly at the 40. We got a marker on the play, roughing the kicker, Kim.
Al, that's going to be enough to give Tech a first down that time. Henry Harris came right up the gut that time trying to block it. He didn't have an angle. Normally when you try to block the kick, you try to take an angle and you try to aim in front of that kicker about 3 yards. That time Harris just came straight up the gut. He didn't have a chance. He hit Snow. There was contact. The referee threw the flag. So big break for Tech. 2:47 to go in the third quarter. They lead 35-9. And by virtue of the penalty that'll be tacked on here from the 17-yard line, that'll give Tech enough for the first down, and that'll keep their, I won't call it a drive, but they have moved the ball off the 3-yard line, and that'll give them a chance to run off some more time on that clock, and more importantly, hopefully, get some better field position.
All right, the Jackets with the first down as a result of the roughing of the kicker penalty of 5 yards. Moves the football to the Tech 18, first and 10 to go. Tech 35, Georgia 9, third period. 82,000 fans looking on. 2:47 on the clock here in the third period. The Jackets break the huddle. Big John Davis from LJ up over that football. The eye with Dewberry. Stacked in that eye is Grant and Levette. Wizenhut, a wing back to the right as they split the right end. On the count, John Dewberry. Dewberry this time giving up to Levette. He's at the 18. Passing the 20. Goes to the 23-yard line. Culpepper knocks Levette down along with the rover back John Little. So the gain, as they unpile, the official marks the football at the 24-yard line. 6 yards for Levette. Second down and 4 to go. The Jackets at the 24-yard line, their own 24.
Now that time it was just power football. The tailback isolation off the left side. Good blocking inside. Levette picked up 6.
The Jackets break the huddle. Wing back is to the right, Wilkins. They split Lee to the right. Wilkins in motion left. Here rolling right on the bootleg is Dewberry throwing. Come in and out of the hands. And Wizenhut also almost made a spectacular one-hand grab, Jim. Incomplete forward pass.
Well, it was a gutty call that time. That was a naked bootleg where Dewberry faked to Levette going to the left side and then ran to his right. He had a lot of pressure, and he saw Wizenhut upfield. Had to throw the ball quickly and off balance, and then took a big shot. Wizenhut went up for it over his shoulder, juggled it, but couldn't quite bring it in. As it was, it would have given Tech another first down, but still incomplete. So clock stops now, 2:04 to go in the third quarter.
Galvin Ruff of Eaton and Georgia really put the pressure on Dewberry as he bootlegs to the right. The eye, possession play for Tech, 3rd and 4 at the Georgia Tech 24. Harrington, a spot back to the right. Wing back left as they split the right end. The wing back in motion, Levette. Here's Dewberry on a quarterback draw. Dewberry fights his way to the 28-yard line, and again, it's going to be, well, he may be about a foot or so shy of the first down at the 27-yard line. And so the Jackets again will be forced to kick the football. at the 27-yard line.
That was a quarterback draw. That was a play that Dewberry scored on in the first half. That time Georgia was looking for it. Dewberry tried to fool Georgia's defense, and Georgia knocked him down short, so Snow checks in again to try the punt. Clock still ticks here.
Mike Snow in deep punt formation. Sutherland will snap the line of scrimmage at Tech 27. Fred Lane, single safety at the Georgia 35-yard line. Snow waiting. Georgia has the return on. Good pass from center. Snow gets his foot in the football and hangs one up there. And it is caught at the 32 by Fred Lane. Lane comes to the near sideline at the 35. He's at the 45. He's at the 50. 45. And down he goes at the 35-yard line of Georgia Tech. Tremendous run back by Fred Lane. The 45-yard kick by Snow. 33 yards run back. He was tackled by the last man, the punter, Mike Snow.
Al Snow made a fine open field tackle on fast Fred Lane. Lane took the kick. It was a low one. He got a wall set up on the left side. He got in that wall. Looked like he might, with one-on-one, have a chance to blow by Snow, the punter, but Snow, again, made a great open field tackle and stopped him at the 35 of Tech.
Georgia at the Tech 35, first and 10 to go. The eye with David Dukes. Here's Dukes this time, rolling on the option keeper at the 35. He turns it upfield to the 31-yard line. 4 yards option keeper right. The tackler for Georgia Tech, junior Jim Anderson out of Lexington, Kentucky. So the gain from the 35, make it the 32, give him 3 yards. 2nd and 7 to go. Georgia at the Tech 32. Defensively, Donnie Chisholm is in. Parker, Swilling, Pike, Steve Pounds, Anderson and Roof, your interior linebackers. Dante Jones, outside linebacker. Your 3 deep secondary, Travis, freshman Ricardo Ingram, and Reginald Rutland. The eye with David Dukes. Flanker out to the left is Hockaday. Handoff this time to the tailback, Tron Jackson, off tackle and a marker on the play.
Al, I think we're going to have a hold. Now, let's see what the call's going to be. Flag was thrown back in that stack of linemen at the 30-yard line. It's going to be against Georgia. That's going to be a holding call, so that's going to put Georgia back on a penalty. Let's see whether it's going to be a 5 or 10-yard mark-off. The breaks have gone Tech's way today. They've had 2 interceptions, a fumble recovery. They've only had 1 penalty assessed against themselves. They had a clip on the Anthony Harrison interception. And Georgia's going to be tacked with a 10-yard penalty, a hold, a flagrant hold, all the way back to the Tech 40-yard line. That'll make it 2nd down.
2nd down and 15. Georgia to Georgia Tech, the holding call against the Bulldogs of Vince Dooley. Tech 35, Georgia 9. 20 seconds on the clock here in the 3rd period. Georgia breaks the huddle. Andre Smith, your fullback. Your tailback, junior Tron Jackson. The tail of the eye, wing back right as they split the left end. Cassius Osborne. Now they break the eye and go to wing backs right and left. Back to pass. Duke looking, throwing. And it's incomplete. Intended. Mark Pike really got a piece of the football with a good rush. And a pass intended on the play for Lane. Incomplete forward pass. So it's 3rd down and 15 for Georgia to Georgia Tech, and big Donnie Chisholm Kim with a good rush.
Well, he put good pressure that time on Dukes, and then Pike just simply jumped up from his defensive lineman position to slap the ball away. But credit Chisholm with putting a lot of pressure on Dukes.
4 seconds remaining in the 3rd period. Tech 35, Georgia 9. The eye, Georgia to Georgia Tech 40-yard line. Dukes rolls back to pass. Looking, pressure, throwing, and it is too long for the intended receiver, the tight end, Scott Williams. And there's the end of the 3rd period with a score. Tech 35. Georgia on 3 field goals, 9. You're listening to the WGSC Georgia Tech Football Network.
Okay, car owners, you want it, you got it. With AutoSure, the professional auto parts people. Castrol GTX. Your car's smaller engine has to rev higher, work harder. That can break down an oil's viscosity within only 1,500 miles. Test-proof Castrol motor oil suffers no significant breakdown even after 5,000 miles. Castrol GTX. Castrol, the motor oil engineered for smaller cars. Where is AutoSure? AutoSure is everywhere with over 140 auto parts stores throughout the Southeast. See your yellow pages for the one nearest you.
Oh, bartender, 62,000 Bud Lights, please.
Thirsty, huh?
I've just come all the way from Mars.
Mars.
See, on Mars, there's only one light beer, and we Martians want a choice in light beers.
You guys are known for that.
And I heard your bar here serves Bud Light.
Hey, the best has a taste all its own.
Right.
But I don't have 62,000 Bud Lights.
Oh.
How about just one for starters?
Okay.
Ask for Bud Light, the less filling light beer with a first name and taste.
Hey, you're pouring that Bud Light in your ears.
So?
Well, on Earth, we drink with our mouths.
Then how do you see?
Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
It'll be 4th down and 15 to go as we start the 4th period. Georgia Tech 35, Georgia 9. Georgia has Kevin Butler, Kim, in for his fourth try. He's kicked 3 field goals out of 3. Georgia is down by 26. Whether it's a fake or not, Butler is in to try for a field goal.
Well, it wouldn't make much sense to try to fake this field goal. You've got 4th and long. I'm sure Tech will be looking for some type of play, a trick play off this. But when you're down by 26 points, you have to start thinking, trying to figure out the logic of going for 3. I know 4th and long, the odds are in the defense's favor. But Georgia needs to get a touchdown, and I'm not going to question Coach Vince Dooley's judgment. That's his prerogative, and I'm sure he's got reasons for doing what he's doing, but Tech, I'm sure, will be glad to give up 3 points here with a chance to get the ball back and try to eat up some of that clock, if not get some points.
All right, we're about set to start the 4th period. 15 minutes to go. Bombshell in the making. Tech 35, Georgia 9. Holding will be Harold. It'll be a 57-yard effort. He kicked a 57-yarder in the first period. He's trying for his 4th field goal of the afternoon. Both lines set. Harold will hold. Snap. Cut. Kicked by Butler. It is high enough. It is good. No good. It's wide of the crossbar. Wide of the crossbar. And so the score remains Tech 35, Georgia 9. And I know the Georgia second guessers will be second guessed Vince Dooley on that play, Kim, whether you made it or not.
Well, that's the danger when you take an election like that and you try the field goal from the other team's 40. And the rule, since the ball is outside the 20, it goes back to the other team at the line of scrimmage. So not only does it hurt for Georgia to miss the field goal, but also, and probably even more damaging, Tech gets the ball at the 40 with 14:55 to go.
The eye set up with Dewberry. Levette, the tail of the eye. Dewberry's long count. Georgia in a split 6. In motion, Harrington to the right. Dewberry pitching out on a toss sweep to Levette. Levette at the 40. Levette fights his way to the 45-yard line. We got a marker on the play.
Now that's going to be against Tech. It's going to be a holding call. Might even be a clip out there. Tech tried the toss sweep on the right side, and I believe Mike Harrington's going to be guilty of an infraction. It's a hold. And let's see whether it's a 5 or a 10-yard mark-off. Flag thrown up about the 40-yard line. Levette got up to about the Tech 45. But they're going to nullify. That's going to nullify the run. And let's see whether, again, it's a 5 or a 10-yarder. They'll bring it back, and referee will assess the penalty against the Jackets. Tech retreating. Tech with a 35-9 to lead here in the 4th quarter. 5-yard mark-off, so it's not a flagrant hold. It'll make it 1st and 15.
Kim, Levette has carried the ball in his career at Tech 257 times. How many times do you think we've seen the toss sweep?
Well, probably 256 times. But the remarkable thing about Robert Levette is not only has he got a lot of yardage, touchdown, all the records, he doesn't get hurt very much, and that's key for a running back.
The eye, Levette the tail of the eye, Passanella in at fullback. Wilkins at tight end, Lee wingback left. Lee in motion right. Here's the handoff to Levette off tackle. Levette 35, goes to the far side of the field, fights his way back to the 39-yard line. 4 yards goes rambling Robert Levette, tackled by John Little, the rubberback. Levette lugging the football this afternoon, some 93 yards, fighting for that 100 mark, and he always has a good game against the Georgia Bulldogs.
He's played extremely well in 3 previous tries. 2 years ago up here, I think he had better than 200 yards rushing and had more rushing yardage that day than the fabled Herschel Walker. He's always played well against Georgia, Al.
Check at the Tech, 39, 2nd and 11. Lone setback behind quarterback John Dewberry. In motion, Harrington right, Dewberry back to pass. Rolls left this time, looking at the 30, running at the 32, and out of bounds on the near sideline, the official says, at the 37-yard line. So a loss of 2 yards, Dewberry rolling, looking to pass, couldn't find a receiver open, elected to run the football, and was bounced out of bounds by Knox Culpepper, a 2-yard loss, so it's 3rd and 13. Tech at the Tech 37 in the 4th period, 13:48 on the clock, Tech 35. Georgia 9. The ball on the hash mark on the near sideline at the Georgia Tech 38-yard line. The Jackets break the huddle. Wise from Vidalia, Georgia, the junior in the ball game. Wisnant checks back in. Wilkins checks out at tight end.
Now Tech's going to have to hurry to get this play off. The time clock's under 10 seconds.
7. Glanton in at fullback. 3rd down play coming up. Back to pass. Dewberry looking. Has protection. Throwing. Complete this time to Glanton. Glenn goes to the far side of the field and knocks off his pin to the turf at the 32-yard line for a loss of 6 yards.
That was a little screen out in the short flat that time. Tech trying to fake Georgia out a little bit by sending everybody deep, trying to pull all those linebackers back, but Knox Culpepper, the all-SEC linebacker, wasn't fooled. He just simply picked up Glinton in the flat, knocked him down for a loss after he caught the ball. Tech will have to kick. Clock is still running.
On in deep punt formation, Mike Snow, the junior college transfer from California. Single safety, Fred Lane for Georgia at the 30. Mike Snow will kick for the Jackets from about the 20-yard line. Ken Sutherland will snap the football for the Jackets. Georgia has the return on with a 7-man rush. Coming up. Tech taking their time. They're down to 2 seconds. They're going to have to hurry. 1 second, and they took too long, Jim.
They wanted to do that. They wanted to use the clock because, again, time is definitely on their side with 26-point lead at this stage of the game. And whether you're kicking from the 32 or the 27 really doesn't make that much difference. And they feel like that it's more important to eat up the clock. 12:50 to go in the fourth quarter. Again, Georgia Tech leads Georgia 35-9 here at Sanford Stadium.
Georgia still has the return on a 4th and 23 play. The penalty moves the football back to the Tech 27. Snow again in deep punt formation. 12:47 on the clock in the ball game. Snow waiting. Sutherland set to snap the football. Good pass in center. Snow gets his foot in the football and hangs one up there. A bomber. Freddie Lane will take it on the fly at the 32, and down he goes. Good tackle by Mike Rosamilia from Titusville, the sophomore on the punt team. He hit him right in his tracks. So Lane down at the 32-yard line. So it's Georgia 1st and 10 at the Georgia 32-yard line.
Good coverage that time, and what made it good, Al, is the hang time of Snow's kick. When you get that ball up and you get 4 or 5 second hang time, you can rest assured with the speed of today's players, they're going to get down and cover the kick. That time, as soon as Lane took it in, he really took a shot from Mike Rosamilia. Under the rules of college football, you got to give 2 yards to receive it. Rosamilia was right on that cutting edge, but the official on top of the play didn't throw a flag. So good coverage by Tech. 12:32 to go in the football game. Georgia has the ball at the 32.
The new quarterback for Georgia, freshman James Jackson from Camilla, Georgia, who was hurt in the JV game, didn't play there, but he will be Georgia's 3rd quarterback. Tech 35, Georgia 9, with 12:32 on the clock. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This, the WGST, Georgia Tech Football Network.
This is Bill Curry. Got a question about Georgia Tech football? Wednesday nights at 7:10, it's your chance to call in and discuss today's game on WGST Atlanta.
Al Serraldo, Kim King, back at Athens Sanford Stadium. Levette carrying the football, 92 yards. Tech offensively, the stat man, 278 yards. Kim, some scores.
Al, all of these are finals. Auburn has lost to Alabama. It's Alabama 17, Auburn 15. Boston College defeated Holy Cross 45-10. Army defeated Navy today 28-11. It was Tennessee 29, Vanderbilt 13. All of those finals.
Well, James Jackson from Camilla checks in a quarterback, and the Georgia Tech coaches in the booth says he's a scrambler, so they want the defense to be alert for a scrambling type quarterback.
Al, Vince Dooley's talking to the officials down on the field. I don't know whether they've got clock problems or what the reason for the meeting is, but the official now comes back on the field.
35-9. Georgia has scored 3 field goals. Butler 3 out of 4 on field goals. The Jackets 5 touchdowns. Jackson in the eye. James Jackson back to pass. Looking, going up the middle, and it's incomplete. A little short for the intended receiver, Cassius Osborne. Sammy Lilly defending for Georgia Tech.
Now they had Osborne coming down over the middle. That ball was thrown a little bit short, and it's tough for a freshman to come off the bench. He was injured, was going to play in the JV game, and Jackson now has replaced Williams and Dukes, so it'll be tough for him to get unwound, but he has a tremendous rifle arm.
Dooley has tried all the quarterbacks his third, yet to find the answer against Tech defense. Jackson back to pass. Looking, still looking, has protection. Looking all day, going up the middle. It is almost intercepted that time. Don Wilson had the football for the interception, but he let it bounce off his shoulder pads. Incomplete forward pass.
Boy, Jackson had all day. Tech only had 3 men rushing. They had Parker, they had Swillen, they had Ivory Lee trying to put pressure on him. Georgia just hung in there and knocked those rushing defenders around. Jackson stayed back in there a good 5 or 6 seconds trying to get the ball downfield, and Wilson almost came up with the interception.
3rd and 10. Georgia at the Georgia 32. 12-18 on the clock in the ball game. Flanker left, split right hand Osborne. Here, Jackson is back to pass again. Looking, rolling, starts to run. He's at the 30, 35. As at the 40, 45, and down he goes at the 49-yard line. First down, Georgia. Jackson couldn't find the receiver. Saw a lot of daylight, and Ted Roop finally knocked him off his pin at the official marks the football at the Georgia 49-yard line, a 17-yard run for James Jackson.
Well, that was a fine play that time by Jackson. He saw that he didn't have anything downfield, and he literally faked off several Tech defenders as they looked like they might be able to stop him, but not before he picked up his first down. Good run.
Ralph Malone Jr. checks in a defensive end for Georgia Tech. The eye. Here's Jackson this time. Back to pass, looking, throwing. It is complete. That time to Jim Hockaday, and out of bounds he goes at the Georgia Tech. Let's see who the official will mark the football at the Georgia Tech 30-yard line. First down, Georgia. At the Georgia Tech 30-yard line as James Jackson on 2 plays has moved the football for Georgia 38 yards.
Now, that time Hockaday was on the right sideline. Jackson rolled to his left a little bit, threw back across the field. Hockaday was hooked up, and he was open. He put the ball on the money.
First and 10 for Georgia at the Tech 32. Jackson back to pass. Pressure out of the pocket. Looking, throwing, incomplete. Intended for Scott Williams, the tight end. So it'll be 2nd and 10 to go. Ricardo Ingram covering. Jackson, 3 out of 5 throwing the football.
Well, that time Tech had the blitz on. Forced him out of the pocket. He was scrambling over to his right. After being flushed out of the pocket, saw Williams downfield. Wilson in coverage. Ball was thrown high and wide, so good pressure that time by Tech. Unsettled Jackson, forced him to throw the ball away.
Mike Travis and Rutland check back in. Wilson and Lilly check out for Georgia Tech in a secondary. 2nd and 10. Georgia at the Tech 32. Jackson on play action, back to pass. Looking, still looking. He has all that. Pressure out of the pocket by Swilling. Looking, throwing the long one in the end zone. And the Tech man intercepts Reginald Rutland. Interception by Rutland in the end zone brings the football out to the 20-yard line. And so the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets stops Georgia. Tech 35. Georgia 9. The 3rd interception for Georgia Tech.
That's the key, the turnovers.
Time out on the playing field. You're listening to the WGST Georgia Tech Football Network.
Texaco is mighty proud to be able to bring you exciting Georgia Tech football. Texaco has a long tradition of supporting top sporting events. As a matter of fact, Texaco and the independent Texaco retailers in this area have been bringing you Georgia Tech football games for 31 years, and each year they enjoy it as much as you do. Texaco's support of college football is just one more way Texaco and local Texaco retailers who run their own businesses are taking part in community activities, because the retailers who wear the Texaco star know how much you enjoy watching the stars on the field. If you're looking for the best value in checking today, look no further than C&S, because a C&S Money Saver checking account may fit your budget just right. For only $3.75 a month, you get up to 15 checks or instant banking withdrawals, and there's no minimum balance required. Money Saver checking at C&S. 15 checks, only $3.75 a month. It's the best value in checking at the best place to bank. Think of your future with C&S. Member FDIC.
All right, the interception by Rutland moves the football out to the 20-yard line of Georgia Tech. Tech 35, Georgia 9, 11:36 remaining in the football game. Dewberry, Glanton, and Corey Collier, your Tech backfield. Wisenhunt and Wilkins, 2 tight ends. It's Big John Davis at center. Iva Meyer, Thomas, Capano, and what a season Tony Capano has had, Jim King.
Al Capano's a great football player. He's all ACC, and Tech will miss him. He's a senior on that offensive line, along with Peter Blazak. They played fine this year. Blazak has done a tremendous job. Ken Sutherland's a senior that will graduate this year. And, of course, the 2 tight ends, Wisenhunt Wilkins. Daryl Norton's had a great year. And, of course, Michael Harrington will be a senior. Robert Levette, Keith Glanton, and Dave Passanella. All 3 of those guys playing their last game.
Dewberry in the I formation, the tail of the I. Corey Collier, Tech at the Tech 20. First and 10 to go. Long count by Dewberry. Dewberry gets off the Collier, off tackle. He's just backed up at the line of scrimmage for no gain. Hit in there by the left guard, Henry Harris, out of Columbia High School out in Decatur. 2nd and 10. The Jackets at the 20-yard line. Rambling Robert Levette checks back in. And we have an injury on the field to Georgia Tech's big Peter Blazak, who is being helped off the field by Tech's 2 fine trainers. Nick Pappas And Coach McDonald, they're going to have to carry that big boy off, Tim, because he doesn't want to come off.
We're going to have to give Coach McDonald another steak, Al, tonight, because after that effort, 287 pounds a man that he's having to carry, I will guarantee you he'll be tired. Blazak looks like he might have gotten shaken up, and he's had a fine career for Tech. He's a fifth-year man. He's worked hard and done a good job at that right tackle position.
Ken Sutherland checked in, senior at right tackle, replacing Blazak. 2nd and 10. The Jackets at the Tech 20. Wisenhunt in motion to the right. Dewberry, long count. Levette at the tail of the eye. Georgia in a split 6. In motion this time, Wisenhunt back to the left. Here's the handoff to Levette. Levette at the 20. Levette comes to the near sideline, fights his way to the 24-yard line for 4 yards, and a marker on the play. The tackler, the roverback, John Little.
Now there's going to be an offsides call, and I can't tell who it's going to be on. Levette tried the left side that time, and play was strung out. Georgia made a hit on him back to 24. Tech's going to be offsides, procedure penalty. Georgia might decline the penalty and force Tech in 3rd and long. And let's see exactly what Knox Culpepper, talking to the officials, is going to decide to do. 5-yard penalty against Georgia for illegal procedure. Levette trying the left side, but they're going to decline the penalty. The reason for doing that is Tech obviously didn't make much yardage on the play, but more importantly, if they gave the down over to Tech, Tech would have more time to run off the clock, and Georgia desperately wants to get the ball back.
4 yards for Levette on the play. Georgia refuses the penalty. 3rd and 6, the Jackets at the 24. Levette had around 97 yards carrying the football. The eye with quarterback John Dewberry on a long count with a split left end on the flanker right. Georgia 5 front. Back to rolling right to pass. John Dewberry at the 50. Dewberry at the 20. Starts to run at the 25. He's out of bounds on the far side of the field at the 30-yard line. Very close to a first down. And let's see whether he got the first down or not. He was rolled out of bounds around the 30-yard line. He's going to be a yard shy.
Now, that was a big play for Tech, for Georgia, I should say, to force Dewberry out of bounds. Tech's going to have to kick it. Dewberry rolling to his right, tried to get the ball downfield to Wisenhunt, but he was covered by John Little. And then Dewberry tried to turn the ball upfield and pick up the first down, but he was run out just shy of the 30-yard line, and that's going to be make it 4th and short. Tech's going to have to kick.
Mike Snow in deep punt formation. Sutherland will snap the football. Georgia has the return on with a 7-man rush. Deep single safety, Fred Lane, the speedster at the 36. Snow will kick from about the 17-yard line. Snow waiting. Good pass from center. Snow gets his foot in the football, hangs one up there, sends Lane all the way back to the 29-yard line. Lane to the near sideline at the 30. He's at the 35, at the 40, 45. He's at the 50, 45, the 30, 25, the 20. Touchdown, Fred Lane in Georgia. 71 yards. Touchdown run by Fred Lane. He got the wall, Kim, on the near sideline, and everybody was knocked off their pins. Lane running down the near sideline, 71 yards, punt return by Fred Lane out of Columbia High School in Decatur, Georgia.
Well, he's almost broke a couple of runs today. He almost broke one earlier on, and that time he got the wall again. Tech just simply got shut out on that wall. Lane turned on the speed. One Tech man had a shot at him back about the 35-yard line. He got by him. It was all over.
35-15. Butler will try to make it 35-16. Tech on top. Snap. Touch. Kick by Kevin Butler. It is high enough. It is good. 35-16. Tech leads Georgia by 19. 10-16 remaining in the 4th period. You're listening to the WGSC Georgia Tech Football Network.
I'm at Royal Olds, and I've been talking to some mighty good people. John and Hildy Samus said we were looking for a full-size sedan that had not been driven much, for more comfort and luxury. We found the perfect car for us at Royal Olds. Margaret McMillan said, all the new cars didn't seem to be what I wanted. The Royal Olds salesman suggested a low-mileage used car, and I found it fit my needs exactly. Mr. Sled told us he was referred to Royal Olds by relatives who get their cars serviced there. He'd heard of Royal's good reputation and said, I found just the car for me at Royal Oldsmobile. If you're looking for a used car, I believe your very best buy is at Royal Olds, one of Atlanta's most trusted used car dealerships.
Royal, the dealership that's different. We believe we found the way to do it right.
Georgia Tech 35, Georgia 16. Butler setting the ball up on a tee at the 40-yard line. Tech has 2 men deep. They're looking again with 9 men up front from the 48 to the Tech 40, looking for the onside kick from Kevin Butler. Collier and Pounds at the 10-yard line for Georgia Tech. Bill Goss set to shoot the whistle. There's the two to the whistle. Kevin Butler forward. Comeats with a high kick that'll be taken on the fly that time, and a fair catch called for by Cleve Pounds. And Kim, I don't know what's happened to the Jacket return kickers by calling for a fair catch at the 15.
Well, I don't know either. That's
the 10 rather.
That's 4 right there. They need to get that ball up the field. That was a little pop kick, and what they're telling the kickers is if the ball is kicked real high and it looks like Georgia's going to get down real quick on it, call a fair catch. But that ball wasn't kicked high enough that time. That was just a poor judgment. Normally what you do, 2 guys back, one has to talk to the other. One guy's going to catch it, the other guy says you can run it or take the fair catch, and Tech's not doing that.
By the Jackets at the Georgia Tech 10-yard line.
Win against Georgia in 7 years, ecstatic fans burned UGA in effigy on the Gold Coast at the Tech campus. And
to the fullback team, who's up the middle.
You know, it had been 10 years since Georgia Tech had beaten Georgia in Athens. And that long wait made yesterday's 35-18 shellacking of Georgia even sweeter for the Yellow Jacket faithful. Tech dominated in every phase of the game. From the second quarter on, it was all Georgia Tech. Georgia got on the board first in the first quarter, though. Guess who? Kevin Butler puts his leg into one from 57 yards out. It would have been good from 70. 3-0 Georgia. That was the first of 3 Kevin Butler field goals on the day for the Bulldogs, but it was Georgia's last lead of the afternoon. Now, if you're looking for a turning point, it might be this run. Tech fullback Malcolm King goes right up the middle, right through the Georgia defense, 57 yards. He didn't score, but Vince Dooley said later that Tech took control of the game from that point. It led to Robert Levette's 3-yarder for the score as they went to the second quarter. 7-3, Georgia Tech, and the Jackets were just getting warmed up, folks. John Dewberry, the former Bulldog, who transferred to Tech, runs that quarterback draw. You've seen him do it a million times. This time it gave Tech a 14-3 lead in the second period. It was 14-6 later when Dewberry was on target to Gary Lee. Dewberry throws over the middle. Lee makes a great diving catch in the end zone. Tech was on its way to its first win over Georgia since 1977. Third period now, and here is Malcolm King again. This time nobody in red and black is going to catch him. 31 yards. Georgia Tech has Sanford Stadium stunned. It is 28-6, and after a Dante Jones interception, Dewberry, what an afternoon he had, again going to Gary Lee wide open. It is 35-6. The only Georgia touchdown came in the final period, down 35-9. Fred Lane takes the Tech punt at his own 28, and Freddie's not going to stop until he's gone 72 yards for the score, but Tech had matters well in hand by that point. A safety made the final score Tech 35, Georgia 18. A near-perfect offensive performance by John Dewberry.
When you don't turn it over, you're supposed to win, and I'm just real grateful for all my teammates and all the people. This is a win for the Georgia Tech family.
I think we've started a tradition of our own, and I think Georgia Tech is going to be a team to look for in the future. Coach Curry he's really doing a good job, and he's really got our players believing in themselves, and I really look for great things in the future. I just hate that I'm going to miss all the, the good times that they're going to have, while I'm gone.
Winning Super Bowls is a great thing, but it's not like seeing a group of 100 young people fight through what these guys have fought through in the last 5 years.
I don't know anything about this game that would make me feel anything but bad. I certainly feel very bad for the seniors because it's their last Georgia Tech.
The Vince Dooley Show, brought to you by Delta Airlines.
It was a bad day for the Bulldogs, but a great day for the Yellow Jackets as Georgia Tech soundly beat us by the score of 35-18. I want to congratulate the Georgia Tech football team, Coach Curry and his staff, on a job well done. They were well prepared, they had a good plan, they executed extremely well, and they made no mistakes. It was indeed a frustrating afternoon, and we'll take a look at it after these minutes. It turned out to be a beautiful day for football. Had a great crowd, and we started actually playing pretty well in the first quarter of the football game. We won the toss and made the decision to take the ball in the second half. or to get the decision. Tech comes out first with Levette, who, a year ago he took off and went all the way, about the third play of the game. But he had another fine day against us. Dewberry had a great day against us. But we played good defense, really, in the first half, first quarter, rather. Good play by Tony Flack on a pass to Levette. Jimmy Harrell fields the punt. Tech's defense played well, too. There wasn't any phase of the game you could say that they didn't play well. They tackled well. They had a good plan. We didn't block them very well. We weren't as coordinated as we needed to be offensively. They had good field position here, but again, we played pretty well defensively in the first quarter of the football game. Dewberry scrambles, but was short of the first down, so they're forced to kick. We came up with some good third down plays early. Well, we got a break here as the ball rolled in the end zone. It's tough going. Andre Smith had good, strong running there. Todd Williams does a fine job here of coming back across the grain, going past the 45-yard line and into Georgia Tech territory. Trusky up the middle. Had an outside blitz on this little waggle pass. But Kevin Butler delivers this field goal of 57 yards. He certainly closed out his career in Sanford Stadium in style. 3 field goals. Good play by John Little on a pass to Dewberry. On a pass rather to Levette from Dewberry. That's the big play. They caught us in a blitz and they trapped our linebacker. And King just ran all the way down to the 3-yard line. And at this point, as we start the second quarter, Dewberry goes in and scores, so their fullback was moving a little bit on that play. They took it in and went up 7-3. And after King made his run, we really went into a lapse. Tech got into orbit, and we went the other way. Tough going, not knocking anybody off the line of scrimmage. Rod throws incomplete. They had an outside blitz on, and he put it up in the air, but we didn't have anybody close. Good coverage by Tony Mangum. Pass out to Glanton. Big play. They come right on down on this drive. Got an excellent offensive football team. They do a lot of things. They've been averaging 418 yards a game. You got a player like Levette, and the tight end really blocked us on that play. Really bad. It's a terrible series. Great run here by Dewberry. I think he checked it at the line of scrimmage on a blitz. They executed very well. It's 14-3. But we have a drive going. Todd runs the option, keeps it. Option play once again, got us a first down. fine reception by Cassius Osborne, who made a couple of good plays. We got to play him more in the ball game. Andre Smith for good yardage. So we're moving the football. This is one of our best drives. And again, a scramble coming back across the green by Todd. This is a critical part of the football game right in here. This is a third down play that they stopped, made a good defensive play, and it forced us to go to a field goal. But still, it's 14-6 at this point. With less than 5 minutes to play. And to Tech's credit and our discredit, they took the ball and went 80 yards. Levette. And then Collier. And there goes the fullback again, King. Good job of scrambling by Dewberry. He does have those good feet. This right here was, oh, and it goes wrong, it goes wrong. Little went for the interception and missed it. And then a perfect strike right in there to Lee, the wide receiver, who made a fine comeback from an operation. So at halftime, the score is 21-6. Again, the two big things that happened in the second quarter that was bad, with Tech leading 14-3, we have a good drive going, and then we come up short and had to kick the field goal. Still, it's 14-6, and we kick off with less than 5 minutes to play, and then Tech takes the ball and goes 80 yards to make it 21-6 at halftime. Well, the Redcoat put on the normal, splendid halftime show, and we made a change at quarterback, trying to find something that would give us an uplift in the second half. David Dukes comes out on a waggle pass and throws to McCluskey for 5 yards. Good running here by Andre Smith. Pick up a first down. But they make a good play on Dukes, and we're forced to punt. They start their drive at the 35. There's a little freeze option it's called, and Dewberry picks up about 5. Quick toss. Good running by Levette. Third down play. Sweep once again to Collier. They're blocking us pretty good. As the trap play once again, and they caught us in the blitz and trapped the linebacker. Had an excellent plan, and they executed extremely well, and their offensive line are good technique blockers. You really have to be impressed with their football team, and I'm sure they'd like to play 2 or 3 games over this year, as we all would, but very capable team. A lot of talent. There's a little screen pass to Andre Smith. We never got Andre Smith started. This is a bad play in that we didn't block the end very well, so he puts his hands up, tips the ball, and Tech intercepts. So when it goes bad, it goes bad. Levette to the 10. And Dewberry rolls out and does a good job right here faking, and Lee makes another move and comes back inside, and he throws it for the touchdown. So right now they're up 35-6. With 5 minutes left in the third quarter. Well, I was pleased that we battled. We got into the fourth quarter, and we battled and kept after them. And They certainly had us down. There's a pass to Scotty Williams across the middle, where it could have been even more embarrassing. It was a good run by Andre Smith. David Duke scrambles out. Run out of bounds. We're at 35. But we never are able to finish off a drive, and that's has been discouraging to us all for the last 3 weeks. Last 3 ball games, rather. Oh, we do some things. Again, in the fourth quarter, I was pleased the way we battle. But it was not enough and too late to really have a serious effect on the football game. Trying to make something happen, unfortunately, it was called for bumping the punter, which is a 5-yard penalty, which gave him another first down. But we stop them and force them to punt again. And we put Freddie Lane back to safety position to try to give us something, and he came out here with this fine run, and of course makes another one a little bit later on for the touchdown, which is excellent. He's a very fine open field runner, as tough as any player I've seen to tackle in the open field. John Jackson picks up 5, but they get us for holding. So we go into the fourth quarter, and we try another field goal. But Kevin misses this one, though he hits 3 out of 4. Again, we're not able to finish off a drive. John Little on the tackle on the vet. This is a good play in here. Good play by Culpepper. But was taking the pressure off of Dewberry by rolling out, dropping back, and then rolling out on the corner. Here's the punt return. It's not this one, but the next one. We got James Jackson, and a little unfair to James. He hurt his ankle and really not well. He does have a good arm, good solid arm, and can throw, and he does have some quick feet, can move around good. Here's an example of it, though he's swinging that ball all over the place. But unfortunately, he hurt his ankle again, and we're not sure about it. In fact, we kind of feel like it's bad. It's a good pass to Jimmy Hockaday. Then he throws, scrambles out and throws deep in the end zone, but they make a fine interception for the football.